Christy. Okay, thank you. For the trustees on the thing, David Vela is bringing donuts later, if you guys want to join. Call worse. The meeting will come in order. May I have roll call?
Recording in progress.
Trustee Buelna,
Presente.
Trustee Fong,
Here.
Trustee Henderson,
Here.
Trustee Hoffman,
Here.
Trustee Moreno,
Here.
Trustee Vela,
Here.
Trustee Vettis,
Here.
Trustee Martinez.
Here.
Thank you.
So for 2 months in a row, Vice Chancellor Ryan Corner has volunteered to do the flag salute. Vice Chancellor Corner. Give me 1 second, everyone. So today we'd like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Congressman Esteban Torres, who passed away at the age of 91 on January 25th, 2022. One of the early pioneers of Chicano Latino politics, Congressman Torres served as a member of the United States House of Representatives from California's 34th Congressional District from 1983 to 1999, serving neighborhoods in Central, East, and Northeast Los Angeles. He shared a deep love for the East Side community and grassroots movement and uplifted hardworking people as a labor organizer. Congressman Torres is the namesake of Esteban Torres High School, which opened in 2010 in East Los Angeles, setting high expectations for student achievement and success. Congressman Esteban Torres is survived by his wife, 5 children, 12 grandchildren, and 7 grandchildren. On behalf of the entire Los Angeles Community College community, we extend our deepest condolences to the Torres family. One thing I always want to add too is one of the first executive directors of Telacu, the East Los Angeles Community Union. And early on in his career, he focused on affordable housing. Outside of the script, I do know some of those facts. Before we move to approve the order of business for today's meeting, Chancellor, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, President Buelna.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the agenda and order of business?
So moved.
Trustee Vela and Trustee Fong moved. Trustee Fong second. On that, Lupe?
Student Trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna,
Yes.
Trustee Fong, Trustee Henderson,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
Trustee Vela,
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Approval of minutes. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the January 12th, 2022 and January 20th, 2022 and December 19th, 2022 minutes. So I need
So moved.
Trustee Moreno moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Vela. Roll call.
Student Trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna,
Yes.
Trustee Fong,
Yes.
Trustee Henderson,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Vela,
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes. Yes.
Do any members of the resource table wish to be recognized at this time to make comments before the board? Are there any members of the resource table, Guadalupe?
Raise your hand if you wish to speak.
I believe Joanne Waddell's in the audience. Miss Waddell? Was Miss Waddell there? I thought I saw her. Okay.
I'm here. Thank you.
President Waddell, AFT 1521. You requested to speak?
Yes, Board President Buelna, thank you very much. Board President Buelna, Board Vice Presidents Henderson and Bella, Trustees, Chancellor Joanne Waddell from AFT 1521, representing the faculty on our 9 campuses. While February is a short month in terms of unique days, it's a full month in terms of celebrations and recognitions. Some are whimsical. Super Tuesdays today, 02/02/2022, or Groundhog Day in its film version, reminding many of us of life during the lockdown, or Valentine's Day. Some are culturally significant, as we will see and hear in board resolutions about Black History Month and the Lunar New Year. Some are political, with President's Days, also known as Washington's Day and Lincoln's Day, not to be confused with their birthdays. Some are opportunities for this board to urge this chancellor to put health and safety of our students, employees, and communities above all else. Within the last week, each of you received a copy of 7 recommendations from a committee that you may not have heard about, but you should, and you will after my comments. The committee is the District-Wide Work Environment Committee. The District-Wide Work Environment Committee. The District-Wide Work Environment Committee is comprised of the chairs of the 9 college work environment committees authorized by our collective bargaining agreement. The District-Wide Work Environment Committee takes its charge from a Superior Court order obtained by the Faculty Guild 4 years after filing a grievance that was upheld in arbitration, but not yet implemented by the district. The District-Wide Work Environment Committee is backed up by language in our Return to Work MOU for fall 2021, language which refers to the committee as the Health and Safety Committee, language which is yet to be implemented. And to that end, the District-Wide Work Environment Committee has created 7 recommendations, copies of which you have received during the week. Perhaps the most important recommendation is number 4, that is to place all classes except for hard to convert classes on remote online format effective Monday, February 7th. That's next first day of the semester. Classes would still be taught with rigor. Services would still be offered to students. They would just be safely online for at least a month when a reassessment of the environment around us could be made. 2 other recommendations on your list of 7 focus on hiring employees to monitor cleared for stations and to verify proof of vaccination or negative test results from campus guests within 72 hours of visiting a campus. That monitoring and verification process does not exist at this time. Other recommendations are procedural for the committee and would make District-Wide Work Environment Committee similar to the structure and function of one of the other very well-functioning committees on campus in our district, the District Budget Committee. I urge the trustees to review the recommendations from the District-Wide Work Environment Committee and to review the Superior Court order, which authorizes the DWEC as soon as possible. This district still has time to brand itself as the safest district in California, and I urge our decision makers to do so. Thank you.
Anything in the written report. We'll start with Valley College. Anything from Valley College? Okay. Anything from Southwest?
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. Just a few updates I'd like to share. We had a very successful in-person enrollment event on Saturday, January 22nd. We were also happy to host Congresswoman Maxine Waters. So it was a really wonderful event. We were able to do on-site enrollment that day. And we have 2 more in-person enrollment events scheduled for March and May. We're completing our calling and texting campaign for winter and spring, and we're going to be starting to shift our focus to late start. I'm really excited because we're actually going to be mailing about 5,000 promise acceptance letters and information packets out to our juniors and seniors in the area. So really looking forward to those March and May enrollment events and having a good turnout. With our PBI grant, our predominantly Black institution grant, we're actually in the planning process for some great outreach and recruitment events targeting specifically Black and African American students in our service area. And also partnering with our feeder high schools to support both dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment focused on Black students. So we're definitely gearing up for this spring and fall to really look at our recovery. And we've been supporting our students with HERF funds and directly providing aid and including wiping out some of their fees. So that's been a great help for our students, and really excited about ASO Welcome Week next week with some in-person and online events, and also with our Black History Month events that are coming up. So thank you so much.
President and the staff guild, after we finish all the presidents, I was told that we missed 2 resource members. So I just want to make sure everyone knew. Pierce College, anything from Pierce?
Absolutely. Good afternoon, trustees and Chancellor Rodriguez. We continue to have one-stop virtual pop-ups, and it is a comprehensive approach where our students have been participating. We've been having between 50 and 100 students over a 2-hour period of time. They get access to Clear 4, they get the A&R team, they get counseling, financial aid, and it's really worked out. The student feedback has been tremendous, and we see noticeable increases in enrollment with 1 to 2 days following we do one of these events. So we are planning on making this part of our ongoing regular work on a weekly basis, in addition to some weekends registration days. We've handed out just this month alone approximately 300 Chromebooks each week. Our students really are very responsive, and our faculty is hard at work. Today was the last day of training for our owls. I finally got one, and his name is Flavio. And we are training, we've trained about over 50 faculty and have about 100 or so sections that are going to be dual delivery. So we're very excited that, and of course, all of you saw our wonderful Kiki Washington. I think you can see her on the Board of Trustees today's page, our first All-American athlete from our women's soccer team. So just a hooray for Kiki. Thank you.
For your sake, we've had a owl that's been named for the first time at LACCD. We'll put that into our LACCD museum archive. And we'll continue our tour through we'll go to Valley College, see about the naming of President Barry's owl. President Barry.
Thank you so much. I don't yet have my owl nor have my owl name, but hopefully that'll be coming sometime soon. I do have a couple of updates though, related to COVID. We continue to do a lot of work making sure that we're responsive to the current environment. Most recently, we were able to secure some antigen tests, over 1,000 antigen tests, and we have more on the way. I know district-wide, those are coming, and I think they're going to be exceptionally important over the next month. One of the important pieces to keep our campus community safe. We're also getting out an updated FAQ to faculty as we approach the spring semester. There's been so many changes going on. We want to make sure communication is as strong as possible. Of course, just as you heard from Mara, and I'm sure everybody will be commenting on, there's a lot happening with enrollment management. we're excited to get our new marketing campaign launched. We're equally excited to get back onto high school campuses with our outreach teams and have a lot of plans shaping up nicely. Dual enrollment continues to go well. The most recent changes that we've added Dr. Kedra Morris to the leadership team for dual enrollment, and I know that she's going to do an amazing job. But lots of efforts, guided pathways, completion teams, just a whole bunch of things that I think are going to make a big impact, as well as the district-wide efforts. We're excited about those too. The last thing I just want to mention is yesterday we were selected to be a part of the Caring Campus initiative that's with the Institute for Evidence-Based Change that Brad Phillips is leading. So we're excited to join that effort. Thank you.
Acknowledge that at the league event over the weekend, the Family Resource Center presented. Trustee Vela and I were present, and LA Valley College did an excellent job in representing the district on the basic needs presentation. I think it's important for them to know that they didn't know we were going to be there, but they did a really good job. So if you could please send our congratulations on that.
I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. East.
Yes, thank you so much, President, Vice President Vela, Henderson, trustees, Chancellor Rodriguez. Like the rest of my colleagues, our campus has been focusing on enrollment and obviously registering our students for the spring. We also have dual enrollment teams back at the high schools, similar to Valley and other sister colleges. That's an effort that's ongoing now. We started a phone banking campaign on January the 4th and are making about 1,000 calls or so per day to students who had previously enrolled or enrolled for at least one class in the last 4 terms. We're going back and re-engaging those students as well. We also continue with our 50 Calls Challenge campaign that started last year, where we have our faculty, classified staff, administrators sign up to make at least 50 calls to our students who have not yet enrolled. And these calls are being made now before the beginning of the spring semester. We've also held telethons where calls are made over several days, and those will continue and are ongoing. And we've had several registration events like our colleagues. We had a major one last week focusing at Monterey Park, our main campus, Southgate, and we had a virtual event. Thus far, we've seen about 1,200 students registered as a result of these 3 events. We were helping them with Clear 4. That's been one of the areas where students have had some challenge. Also uploading the vaccinations, provided FAFSA support, Chromebooks, hotspots, and Metro passes. Our next registration events are happening tomorrow. Again, Monterey Park and Southgate locations. And we continue with our social media ads. So far, we've had over 1 million impressions in the span of 4 weeks. Radio ads are going on. We have billboards, we have signs. We're continuing to push with every aspect of our marketing campaigns. Let me also say that we're very pleased to continue our social justice and racial equity programs and town halls that started 2 years ago. And I'm excited that we're celebrating Black History Month. So happy Black History Month to you. Happy Lunar Year. We're gonna have a lot of keynote speakers that are lined up and events happening for Black History Month. And finally, just want to announce that ELAC was selected as one of 45 colleges and universities in the state that will be participating in the new public service program that will subsidize tuition for our students. This is a program called Californians for All College Corps. Starts in fall of 22. And basically what it is students will provide 450 hours of volunteer service in return for up to $10,000 that will go towards their academic tuition. So we're excited to be selected, looking forward to working with our students who obviously have the need, and we're just honored to have been selected. So with that, thank you so much for the opportunity to present.
Thank you. A quick question. How many hours for 10,000?
450 hours in total.
450 hours for $10,000?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. I'm just doing the math.
It's,
Oh.
I think it's over $20 an hour. I think it
Okay,
comes.
all right. I'm an attorney, I'm an attorney, not a math major. LA City College, thank you for that.
Thank you.
LA City College.
Good afternoon, Board President and board members. I'm happy to let you know what we've been doing in the area of recruitment. We connected our outreach and recruitment teams with our departments so that they could have both in-person, online recruitment efforts in these last few weeks to see what to bring on more students into our programs right now. We also just finished a radio spot that will launch, and we're almost finished with a TV spot. We'll be on billboards and buses in our area, so you will see and hear LACC around. I'd also like to mention to you a couple of important events that our Race Equity and Social Justice Center are doing in the month of February. Next Thursday, the 10th at 1 o'clock, we're going to have a very important event that will be honoring Marcus Garvey, his son, his granddaughter, and the great-grandson of Muhammad Ali will all be at this event, and we'll make sure you get all of the information about it. We'd love for any and all to join us. We expect this to be a great event. We're also going to have a substantial celebration for the Lunar New Year on the 17th of February. And we're going to have a dragon dance and lots of food and entertainment. So you all are invited to that as well. And I'm really excited to let you know that we're going to have our first art exhibit in our new art gallery in the Da Vinci building, sponsored by IATSE. It'll be at 5 o'clock on Thursday, the 17th of February. Hopefully you can join us. Thank you.
What day is the event with Marcus Garvey's family and Muhammad Ali's family as well?
It's next Thursday, the 10th at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you. If you could please send the trustees an email with that information, it would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. West.
Thank you, sir, and good afternoon, everyone. West just completed 3 very successful enrollment days. We are excited about opening 2 brand new buildings later this spring, so you'll all be receiving invitations to the official ribbon cuttings. Like Valley College, we're also privileged to be part of the 30-school contingent who are participating in the Caring Campus initiative out of the Chancellor's office. But I want to fade back here and talk just for a moment about a couple of individuals who are making a difference here in our campus, because enrollment management is not only the recruitment, it's the retention piece. And I want to highlight our coach, Anthony Jones, our basketball coach, who just posted his 100th career win at West and a win over Bakersfield a couple of weeks ago. But what's more important is that for the first time in college history, the men's basketball team posted a combined 3.6 GPA. Each of the student athletes earned a 3.0 or higher. Each of them made a spot on the Dean's Honor Roll, as well as the athletic department gold team. In the middle of all this, they're ranked #1 in the Western State South Conference and #9 in California. So it's these kind of efforts by our individual faculty that make a difference in retaining our quality students. And I wanted to celebrate our basketball team in this particular venue. Thank you.
We're not done. Do you have something coming up with regard to in either biodiversity or there's a new program, I think up in the league, your name came up on something new. Oh, climate studies. What are you doing in climate studies?
Well, if you recall, sir, from the legislative priorities, the Center for Climate Change Education has become a major initiative thanks to the leadership of Ms. Velos and Dr. Rodriguez. So right now we're focusing on building the background for that, along with hiring an additional faculty member in our climate change studies program.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate you the update. Mission College.
Hi, good afternoon. President Buelna, members of the board, Chancellor Rodriguez, just a few updates. Like my colleagues, Mission College is well underway and continuing with our registration events. We've designated Wednesdays and Thursdays as our registration days, where students can come in and they get wraparound services, including obviously applying and enrolling, counseling, financial aid, cleared for assistance, vaccinations, and of course, our incentives, which include vouchers to our student store, $200 voucher to our cafeteria, Chromebooks, and for those who are applying for financial aid, as all of us are doing, they qualify for the $850 additional stipend. So lots of incentives to bring our students onto campus. Additionally, we're hosting a registration event this Saturday from 9 to 1 with the same services available. Want to point out a couple of other things where Mission College is working with our local community of schools, which is the San Fernando Silmar component of the Northeast LAUSD leadership. And we're coordinating a Northeast effort to host all of our feeder high schools throughout each Friday of the month of March, where the goal would be that every student will complete a CCC apply by the time they leave Mission College. So lots of coordination and work done on that front. We're also coordinating with Valley College, where our teams are going to the high schools to have workshops and help students through their financial aid applications so that students can designate our respective colleges while they're going through their FAFSA applications. And then finally, I wanted to share that Chancellor Rodriguez and myself had a very successful meeting with County Probation, where we're looking to expand opportunities for our justice-involved population and utilize our college reentry hub here at the college. So thank you for your time.
Harbor College.
Thank you, President Buelna, Board of Trustees, and Chancellor. I also want to give an update on our efforts in regards to registration. We continue to have our virtual registrations every Wednesday. This Saturday, we're going to have our in-person registration. I want to give huge shout outs to our outreach team, our A&R teams, and our counseling faculty that will be on hand to assist our students to triage and make sure that their onboarding and registration process goes smoothly. So huge shout out to them. I also want to let you know that our early decision program is back on track because our outreach team is back in the high schools. And so we're working with our local high schools, and we're already scheduling financial aid application workshops, both in English and in Spanish, so to help out our incoming students. Our marketing campaigns, if you have had a chance to drive the 110 and the 405, you're gonna hit a big old billboard that says, join us at LA Harbor College. And so we also have the bus shelters and the bus advertisement where the buses are traversing all through the South Bay and the Silver Line. You might see it if you go outside the Board of Trustees office on Wilshire. We also have spots on radio and on Spotify and Pandora. I also want to give a huge shout out to Professors Angie Crum and Ms. Carmen Carrillo. Today we had our new faculty orientation and we onboarded them the right way. We didn't just say come in and sink or swim. So we onboarded them and we provided them with a schedule, and we're gonna have meetings with them throughout the year to assist them so that they're successful in their process. Also tomorrow, if you would like to join us, we're gonna have our spring 2022 kickoff, and we're asking everybody to wear NFL jersey. Yes, we're playing off of the Super Bowl that's gonna be in LA next week. So if you're interested, it's gonna be virtual. And again, wear your favorite NFL jersey or your favorite team jersey. And if it's a Harbor team jersey, we're okay with that. Thank you.
And from Los Angeles Trade Tech College, President Vanderwood.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Trustees, Chancellor, and Board President. As we are continuing, I'll start by talking a little bit about what we're doing with enrollment, as my colleagues have done. We're continuing our enrollment push with our campus engaged right now and reaching out to about 12,000 students who have stopped out for a variety of different reasons. We've disaggregated that data so that we know specifically between our phone calls and between the robocalls that I actually personally record to our students. They speak personally to the student based on their circumstances. So for example, students who applied but didn't enroll, students who enrolled in the fall and winter, but not for spring. Those who might have experienced trouble, and we can tell that with the cleared for and COVID related, perhaps they didn't submit their information, or enrolled less than full time for spring. So we've developed a series of robocalls that I record out to students and a series also of targeted email messages, and then our phone calls follow that as well with our phone banking. In fact, at the conclusion of the board meeting tonight, I'll be going back to my list as I'm one of the callers as well. Our entire leadership team is making these calls, as well as our faculty and others on our campus. We've been adjusting our classes as we're seeing where things are going with respect to natural student behaviors. And so we were at about 66% of on-ground, and now we're closer to 49 or 50% of our on-ground courses. We're trying to make sure that we have that mix for our students. Next week is what we call Go Week at Trade, and that will continue with our kickoff of the spring semester. The last 2 Saturdays, we hosted virtual open houses. Those virtual open houses, students or those inquiring were able to go to various rooms on site. We had our faculty and our pathways were there. They were able to receive registration assistance, and also we're hosting workshops on the cleared for platform use so that our students know how to update that. We've had over the last 2 Saturdays in our virtual open houses, we've had over 1,500 student interactions in those. The first weekend during the day, we actually registered 126 students right in that site. This past weekend, CCC apply was down, so that caused us a little bit more difficulty, but we've continued this week with those students. GoPass, we are proud that around 400 students have already taken advantage of the GoPass as we've rolled that out. We had, I want to say a week and a half ago, Netflix was on our campus filming because they are following, of course, one of our colleague schools for the Last Chance U basketball series. We're hoping that that will appear on Netflix next season, so look for it. I do have to say that Dr. Ramon's team, though, did get the best of us in the game, but the filming did take place here, so we may have that opportunity to be seen. 2 calendar items. I want to mark your calendars during for Black History Month. Our annual Black History Luncheon is on February 23rd. This one is our BFSA, Emoja and ASO in partnership. We're hosting a luncheon on the 23rd, 11 to 1. Dr. Jonathan King, a diversity trainer with over 15 years of faculty and executive leadership experience in the community colleges, also relates his family's personal experiences with Dr. King in the 60s. He'll talk about the legacy and really tie some things and the theme of Black History Month into focusing on Black health and wellness. And then lastly, just planning ahead, I want to let you know that we have our date for our next Gold Thimble Fashion Show, and it is May 27th. So stay tuned, and I'll continue to remind on that. Thank you so very much for this opportunity to share.
Much. 2 questions, President Vanderwood, or one request for those 2 events, but the February 23rd. Could you please send it to the board secretary so we can put it on board members' agendas?
Absolutely.
With regard to CCC Apply, how many hours was it down?
There was actually an update over the weekend. And so we had issues the entire weekend. And so we didn't realize that this was going to be going on. And so we had a whole team hosting yet again another open house, albeit virtually, and we were unable to get through that system. So this was an update. I understand a state update, not at the local level.
Vice Chancellor Corner, did we know about that? Okay, that's a big mess up. I just want to make sure and announce it loudly and publicly that that's embarrassing to our state, not for us, but that CCC applied that occurred. Back to our labor unions who weren't able to raise their hand, kind of like Jeopardy, you got to move your hand up quickly here. So to the staff guild.
Good afternoon, Chancellor, Board President, Board of Trustees, colleagues, and guests. Hazel Alonso, President for AFT College Staff Guild, Local 1521A. I'm speaking again today to voice the ever-growing worry and angst from Unit 1 classified staff. As days progress and COVID seems very determined to hang around, myself, my officers, my local leaders at all 10 work sites continue to voice our concerns over health and safety for our frontline staff. I had hoped today to quote the actual numbers of classified staff who have been exposed to COVID since we've been asked to return at 100%. Unfortunately, I am still waiting on that data. So hopefully at the next board meeting, I will have that. But nevertheless, I do see it every day in the multitude of COVID notifications flooding my inbox. And so I ask, and my members ask, when is this administration going to listen? And when will our health and safety matter? Yesterday, I was able to attend the town hall hosted by the Chancellor and the administration. And while we did find the information informative and quite hopeful, what myself and my colleagues sadly noticed was once again, there was hardly any mention of classified staff. We had hoped that, again, we would have been part of the conversation. And I bring this up because when we were asked to return at 100% to the campuses, there was a repetitive conversation that it was classified staff who would be part of the solution, that we were needed. And so my members, again, who attended the widely participatory meeting yesterday, were concerned that there was a silence again when it came to classified staff. We were glad to hear about the 67 additional adjunct faculty to be hired, but where was our hiring data? We have members and we have a plethora of classified staff who are working double desks, who have been tasked with additional duties that they did during COVID and they were working from home and have now been asked to come back, and they are doing that same work in addition to what they were doing pre-COVID. And the voices are getting louder. And so I'm standing here again, hoping that maybe if I continue to voice our concerns, that it becomes more personal and that they're actually being heard. I do have colleagues who will speak shortly, and I hope that combined, our voices stand strong and our members know that we will fight and we will speak and we will rise and hopefully somebody will listen. So thank you again, board and the administration, for your time today.
Thank you for speaking out. President of the Academic Senate.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you, Board President Buelna, trustees, chancellor, members of the public. I speak to you from a parking lot. I pulled over in Woodland Hills because I attended a dual delivery training earlier this morning at Pierce College with the Owls. And again, I was very impressed with the pilot program at Pierce. Like many people in LA County, my entire family came down with COVID in December and January. One by one, in spite of being fully vaccinated, we got sick. Fortunately, it wasn't severe, but I do have a 10th grader who missed a week and a half of classes. And then when he returned to class, his school shut down for a week just to regroup because of the high number of students who had come down with COVID. I'm sharing this with you because I feel like the one area that we're really not addressing, and by the way, I'm very impressed with all the initiatives and the efforts to increase outreach and retention and bring in students. But I truly believe, and I cannot stop saying this enough, the one area where we are falling short and we continue to fall short is addressing the impact of learning disruption or learning loss, whatever we want to call this, on our students. And I can right now, having a son who just graduated from high school, he does not feel ready for transfer level English and math. And I think that our hands are tied as faculty if we cannot truly address and really look at what is going on with our students and the impact of learning disruption on them. So I hope we can have an honest and a really in-depth conversation as to how we're going to address this, because until we address the impact of this disruption on our students, I just feel that our efforts are going to fall short. So again, I am very encouraged by the innovation, the work that I'm seeing, but I do want to again reiterate this point that we cannot ignore the disruption that has occurred for our students health-wise, and the and in every other aspect, and the impact that it's having on their learning. So thank you again for all your hard work, but please let's address this, because until we do so, there's no way our enrollment is going to recover sufficiently. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Echeverri, have you prepared any leave behind document, any document for administration? Because you identified innovation in one part of your statement, and then you stated that we're not addressing certain things. They're not contradictory, because you may be saying the same thing, or not the same thing, but in a different way. Do you have any document or anything that administration has seen, or have you presented some of your specific concerns that may not be part of that innovation that you addressed?
Yeah, in particular, and I'm going to be meeting with the Chancellor tomorrow, in fact, to discuss our concerns about the success rates in transfer level math, in English in particular, among certain students. And I'm very concerned that we're leaving behind students. Students have had 3 academic years now impacted, especially our K through 12 students, and we need to figure out how we're going to help them be more successful. So, if we're only looking at throughput, I don't think we're looking at the whole picture, and we need to acknowledge that their learning has been impacted. And I'm sharing this with you as a parent who has seen, and my children have a lot of advantages that other kids don't have. And I think that we really need to take a look at what we can do to help these students succeed, especially in transfer level math and English. So, but I'm the dual delivery and the high flex classes and everything we're doing with outreach, I applaud all that, but it's not enough if we don't look at this learning disruption.
I wanted to make sure that they were specific. Thank you very much. Are there any Guadalupe, anyone else from the resource table? Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to public comment. Request to address the Board of Trustees regarding regular agendized items. Since the board provided for a maximum of 20 minutes per topic, and we have 12 speakers, more than the allotted time period, may I please have a motion for each speaker to be allotted 2 minutes?
So moved.
Trustee Vela moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Fong, second. Any comments? Roll call?
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote. Student trustee?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Wilna?
Yes.
Trustee Fong?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson? Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
Trustee Vela?
Yes.
Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. All right, Lupe, if we can start. So let's start with
Sir, we don't have anybody signed up for agenda matters, but we
Yeah.
do for non-agenda matters.
okay, all right. So then we need to go on to, are there any, okay, so members not on the agenda. So actually, we need the same motion for items not on the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Vela? Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Trustee Henderson, second. Roll call?
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Wilna?
Yes.
Trustee Fong?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman?
Yes.
Trustee Moreno?
Yes.
Trustee Vela?
Yes.
Trustee Vettis?
Yes.
Okay, pass. Let's start off with Pastor Bruce McCall, and I'll say him the next three. So Pastor Bruce McCall, Dr. Sandra Lee, and Miss Sharonda Jacobs. Those, if they could please unmute themselves, and you have 2 minutes.
Dr. Sandra Lee?
Yes, I'll go ahead and get started. First of all, I'd like to thank the board and board members and student trustee for this opportunity to address the board this afternoon. I'm Sandra Lee. I'm a faculty member at Los Angeles Southwest College, and I'm also the AFT 1521 chapter president, something that my colleague, my union colleague from the classified Guild said is resonating with me, and that is the voices are getting louder. And I'm here today because I want to address the issue of what is going on at LA Southwest College. LA Southwest College is experiencing a culture of fear, low morale, and poor leadership. And I'm speaking on behalf of faculty, but I'm also speaking in support of the Los Angeles Southwest College Community Coalition. We are and we have been experiencing a workplace environment that is rampant with hostility, with polarization, with retaliation, and with unprofessional behavior by our administrative leadership. And although I'm a faculty member and a leader at Los Angeles Southwest College, the problems of leadership that we've been experiencing are not simply limited to the campus, but have over the past couple of years spilled out into the community, as by today's community coalition speakers. And in this climate of low enrollment, we all understand that outreach to our surrounding community is built on collective community trust. It's built on collective community engagement, perception, and relationships. This is fractured. These community relationships are fractured, and these internal relationships are fractured. So I'll keep this short because I know there are a lot of speakers today. So what's the ask of this board? We, the Community Coalition, as well as faculty, we want immediate accountability. We want someone to pay attention, to listen to what's going on inside the walls of LA Southwest College. And so interesting is that we've all been working remotely.
Sorry, your 2 minutes are up.
It's fine. Go ahead, Sandra.
We've all been working remotely, and yet these problems persist. We feel like the board has an obligation to at least hear what's going on at this college. And in closing, we're requesting not only immediate accountability, but we're also asking board members to meet with the coalition as well as faculty on our campus so that action can be taken. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Dr. Bruce McCall and Dr. Sharonda, or Miss Sharonda Jacobs. Okay. And we can come back if they're having an issue. Mr. Wayne Moore, Mr. Earl Jones, and Mr. Johnny Osborne.
Good morning. I'm Wayne Moore of the Southwest College Community Coalition, and I'm also a board member of the Bridge Builders Foundation. Bridge Builders is a community-based organization delivering services to South Los Angeles County since 1999. We provide an array of services to youth of color and specifically target African-American males. We provide K through 12 mentoring programs in partnership with schools in LA, Long Beach, Compton, and Linwood Unified School Districts. Since 1999, we've also provided over $900,000 in direct scholarship aid to high school students in Los Angeles County to attend colleges and universities all over the country. We have a year-round science academy and marine science camp targeting underserved middle and high school boys and girls. In 2013, our Science Academy was welcomed to the Southwest College campus as a valued community partner. We had the use of classrooms and labs once a month on Saturdays and were supported by faculty and staff. We paid for all of our equipment, materials, and supplies. As the administration and staff changed at Southwest College over the years, our relationship as a valued community partner also changed. And I would like to yield the balance of my time to the next speaker, Bridge Builders board member and colleague of mine, Earl Jones.
Thank you, Wayne.
Yeah.
Can all hear me?
Yes, we can, Mr. Jones.
Okay, thank you. I also thank you for this opportunity to address the board. I am also a member of the Southwest College Community Coalition. I also am the program director of that science program that Wayne just mentioned, and we've resided here at Southwest College for over 6 years, and we have a very strong affinity, for the college, having been here for 6 years. I'm here to share our experience working with the college over that period of time, which seemed to change from when we came here to about 4 years in, we were forced to move of our own decision. And we were invited here in 2013. We started in 2014, our program in 2014. We were supervised and as our interface there by Dr. Alistair Callender, who was the academic senate president and also an instructor in environmental science. And it was a wonderful relationship for a while. And as Wayne mentioned, we provide a wonderful service for Black and brown boys and girls of color, trying to expose them to STEM topics and careers, all free of cost. We don't charge a penny to all the parents or the students for what we do. And even on campus, our lesson plans and instructions were supported by campus instructors, Southwest College instructors, along with professionals in STEM industries across the area, as well as University of Southern California, one of our special programs, our marine science programs. But in about 2017, we were charged additional fees. They stopped treating us as a community partner, which we felt we were a community partner for quite a while, and we were being started treated as a vendor. There's a whole lot of difference between the fees as a community partner and as a vendor. And the vendor is as though we were selling something, but the only thing we were selling at Southwest College was free education for the boys and girls of our community. And this kind of confused us. It confused us, the sharp change in policy, especially when we came there with a more community accommodating attitude and policy.
Even the master plan seems to, endorse this community partnership. But we were charged additional fees we couldn't afford with the meager budget that we had, and we were forced to move. But in spite of our direct appeals, we made a direct appeals to the president a couple of times to kind of reduce our fees to something more affordable, but it came on deaf ears. It just did not happen. So we were forced to move to another campus that was more accommodating, treating us more as a community partner. And it was kind of confusing to us because of the change in policy from the time we came there in 2014 to 2018, when the fees went up. We love Southwest College. Okay, we just want to make that very clear. We enjoyed our residency there, but as James Baldwin once said, I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. And that's kind of like our attitude with Southwest College today. I thank you for this time to address the board.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Do you have Ms. Sharonda Jacobs and Pastor Bruce McCall? Are they on? If not, Johnny Osmond. We have Dr. Robertson, Athenetta Rhodes, Ashley Milena Rodriguez. If you've been called, please, if you see a space, you can go ahead and start. Ashley, you have your hand up.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So my name is Ashley Rodriguez. This is in regards to a matter that is not on the agenda. There is one issue that I wanted to point out about the Board of Trustees website. The way that Board Docs website is currently structured is not accessible to screen reader software programs that are used by blind or visually impaired people. This means that it takes people with vision impairments a long time to be able to navigate through the website and find the information that they should have a right to access. Specifically on today's agenda page, it changes as easy as linking today's Zoom link or email address for the public comment section would have made it a lot easier for people to attend or speak on behalf of the issues that they wanted to address with you. It's really hard for the community to participate in public meetings if they can't really readily access the information. So I would appreciate it if the board would consider making their meeting agendas and minutes just easier to access for all users, sighted and non-sighted. Thank you.
Noted. Thank you. Let's go back to Pastor Bruce McCall, Sharonda Jacobs, Johnny Osmond, Dr. Roberts, and Antonetta Rhodes. Are any of those speakers present with us?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yeah, this is Pastor Bruce McCall, the Solid Rock Baptist Church of Los Angeles, a retired sheriff's deputy that created the West Athens, Westmont Community Task Force, and now president of the Los Angeles Southwest College Community Coalition. We're here to just share with you our mission and our purpose, which is out of order at this point, but we want to read it to you. Thank you, board and Chancellor, for your consideration. Our mission, the mission of the Los Angeles Southwest College Community Coalition, or the LACCD, is to monitor and assure that the historical insights, vision, purpose, and goals of its founder, Ms. Odessa Cox, are remembered, respected, and maintained. We seek to ensure that the leadership of the college and the district demonstrates and upholds professional and ethical behavior that represents the college in a positive light, indicative of the moral, professional, and character attributes of transparency, accountability, honesty, and integrity in all professional matters. And finally, that college leaders demonstrate loyalty respect, commitment, and decision-making that best serves the interests of the college and its community. That was our mission, but our purpose. The goal of the coalition is to present a unified voice of advocacy and justice for what is right and good for Los Angeles Southwest College, its community, and its constituencies. The coalition is unwavering in its commitment to assuring that Los Angeles Southwest College continue offering courses and programs that lead to academic and transfer degrees, career and technical education certificates, high demand employment, and personal and professional enhancement. The coalition will monitor professional and ethical practices that confirm the integrity of the college and district's administrative leadership and its campus environment to ensure that LASC is positively reflected and represented in all internal and external marketing and outreach, print, broadcast, and social media platforms. The coalition will continue to monitor the viability, access, and integrity of the college and its leadership, program offerings, student demographics, and the college campus climate. Our constituents and comrades, we gave this basic purpose and mission statement. Thank you for considering what we're sharing.
Thank you very much. I'm going to do one last call for Ms. Sharonda Jacobs, Johnny Osmond, and Dr. Robertson, and Antonetta Rhodes. Okay, seeing they're not present. Giovanna Campos. Giovanna Campos. Joanne. Oh, Ms. Campos, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Giovanna Campos, and I'm currently the interim recording secretary for AFT College Staff Guild, Local 1521A. As you may know, we are currently in contract negotiations and have proposed an extensive and comprehensive salary presentation to the district's negotiations team on October 22, 2021. I am here to ask that this Board of Trustees takes the time to read through the entire proposal and offer us the fair and livable wage that we deserve. Some quick facts. Unit 1 members have the lowest turnover rate in the district. Unit 1 employees are dedicated and committed to the students that we serve in this district. Unit 1 employees have an average of 11.5 years of service to this district. Employees have an average of 8.3 years in the same classification. Unit 1 employees have an average of 8.6 years at step 5, the highest step. Only 35 Unit 1 employees have been promoted since 2011. An average of 8 Unit 1 employees have been reclassified per year since 2011. Also, there are very few opportunities to move up the career ladder. Unit 1 members are highly educated, with approximately 63% of them having an educational differential. The last 10 years of COLA have barely kept up with inflation over the same period of time. I am here to ask that the Board of Trustees gives great consideration to the salary proposal that was presented so that we can have a fair and livable wage to continue to serve students. While COLA is well received, COLA is not a raise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joanne Haywood.
Yes.
Ms. Haywood, you have 2 minutes.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chancellor, Board of Trustees, and colleagues. My name is Joanne Haywood, First Vice President of the AFT Staff Guild. I want to bring to your awareness the hardship our employees face, the day-to-day struggles of making ends meet. And this is just in addition to what my colleague Giovanna just spoke on. They have to make decisions on whether to eat, buy gas, or keep on the lights, and so on and so forth. These employees are some of our most vulnerable among us. Though many do a great job of masking it, they are simply struggling. The employees I'm referring to are our Unit 1 members, our frontline staff. These employees who currently make the living wage in Los Angeles. In an effort to begin correcting this issue, there is a document that should have already been presented to you for consideration. We would like you to review this document again. This time, do so with the understanding that the data you are reviewing impacts the lives of very committed LACCD Unit 1 employees. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Rowena Smith.
Yes, thank you for calling on me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Board of Trustees, Chancellor, and colleagues and members. My name is Rowena Smith Crusade, and I am the interim second vice president for the AFT 1521A Classified Staff Guild. And what I want to reiterate what you've heard from my colleague Giovanna and Joanne, but I want to add a little bit more heart to it. I want to remind the board that when you're reviewing these documents and you're going over the data and the research and the numbers and the graphs, these are human beings behind these numbers. These are your LACCD classified staff, the people who we've been told for months are so important and so integral in students wanting to come to school. And that's why you guys need to get back to work and be on the front lines and be the risk takers with your health, regardless of Delta, regardless of Omicron, because the students need you. Well, now the classified staff membership needs you. We need you to understand that there are classified staff that make less than what people make at McDonald's. We are an educational institution. I am a product of the community college district. I was on welfare when I started LACC, single mom with a kid and a prayer. And today I have a college degree and I'm at the top of the food chain, my step 5, but many of my coworkers are not, and it's wrong. We preach equity, we preach education, financial freedom through education. We must stand and be about what we say we're about. It is our actions, your actions as our board that are going to make it or break it. Thank you for letting me speak today.
You're welcome, and thank you very much. Ms. Sharonda Jacobs, I believe you're on. Ms. Jacobs?
Hear me? Oh, sorry.
Yes, we can.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm speaking on credit and non-credit. I started off as a music major at Southwest College, but unfortunately there wasn't enough classes for me even to get a degree, not even in theater, but I was able to get a degree in theater. But what I'm trying to tell you is that our ancestors, how they made it out of the cotton fields and out of the houses and through slavery is through music and dance. If you take that away from us, you might as well just call that a silent campus, because you need music, you need dance. It makes the world go around. I know you heard the saying that music calms the savage beast, but I'm not saying that we're beasts, but I'm just saying we need our music programs. We have renowned teachers at Southwest, or were at Southwest, that could bring so much to Southwest College. Y'all say, but you take away the classes 3 weeks before the classes even start. That's not giving students enough time to even register for those classes. You need to bring back our dance classes, our not the non-credit, because we have plenty of non-credit hours. We don't need any of that, but you don't even have specialty classes.
I believe you're muted, ma'am. Ma'am, you're muted.
No, I'm back on now.
Okay.
But I was saying that you need to bring back our dance classes, our music classes, and the arts. That's part of that gives the person an outlet to release some of the stress from doing classes all day. Nobody wants to go to college and just do classwork. Sometimes you need an avenue to release. We have a lot of younger students, so they need that release. So I'm asking you guys to bring back the dance classes, the music classes. We have renowned teachers that can teach the students and take them to a level that they have never been to. And that's all I have to say. And I'm going to bring on Mr. Osborne because we do have another speaker. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies.
Mr. Johnny Osmond?
Yes, how are you?
Hello,
I'm a
Mr.
member of the Southwest Coalition community. I want to let you know that I'm a graduate from Southwest College, 1971. Southwest College allowed me to go to Cal State Los Angeles to acquire a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, secondary credential, went on to Pepperdine to get a administrative credential. I've watched Southwest grow from bungalows on the corner to a full
pledged through bond money and through taxpayer money. It is a full-fledged college that needs to operate like Cerritos, Long Beach City, Santa Monica, El Camino. I became a PE teacher, football coach, track coach. Later, 20 years later, I became an administrator, assistant principal. I look at Southwest and when they have our college campus come to our schools, we don't have representation from Southwest College. No outreach program to come let the students in LA Unified Schools District know what Southwest has to offer. You have now a full-fledged athletic instructors. Those instructors or coaches that would bring full-time students to that school are not in place. No athletic director. We do not get to bring full-time students to enroll at Southwest through athletic programs. All these programs I'm talking about, football, basketball, track and field, aquatics, volleyball, soccer, exist in every school near Southwest. Outreach programs could bring those students that are already in programs in the existing high schools around the school. It's centrally located right on Imperial and Western. Easy for any student to get on the bus, get to that school, and continue their education and athletic if they would like to. But Southwest is not offering any of that. And for so long, I've watched the school grow. For so long, I was wishing that they would get a bona fide programs at Southwest. Our kids in this community go to Santa Monica, El Camino, Cerritos, Long Beach City, Glendale to continue their athletics. And we already have at Southwest everything in place, but the leadership has not seen it fit to grow this school. Academically, it's been a great goodness for me. Made my life so much different. And I lived in this community, grew up in this community. And I am so thrilled and proud to be coming from Southwest. And I think that Southwest needs to develop these programs. Leadership needs to see and have outreach programs to those high schools. And I'm retired, but I'm still as a principal substitute working at different schools throughout LA Unified. It's changed my life, and I would like to see it to do the same for many other students that exist right there at Locke High School, Washington High School, Inglewood High School, Gardena High School, tons of high schools that are located right here that our students have to go to no man's land to achieve the same thing. My name is Johnny Osborne, and I thank you for allowing me to talk to you. And I would like to bring Dr. Roberts to speak. Thank you.
Dr. Robertson?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm Dr. Robertson with the Los Angeles Southwest College Community Coalition. Although we celebrate African American history 12 months of the year, for this particular month being highlighted, February, I would like to pay tribute to some of the greats that we endear by way of the LA Southwest College experience. Odessa, heard Pastor McCall speak of her. She came from Bessemer, Alabama. She is the esteemed founder of the college, joined by others in the community, including Congresswoman Maxine Waters and our wise Auntie Dolores. These three women we highlight because they navigated the way for the community, the legislative, and the financial pathways to sustain LASC as an academic institution. Two chancellors were birthed from Los Angeles Southwest College. From the womb of that college came former president, Dr. Thomas Lakin, who went on to become chancellor of the Ventura Community College District, former vice president, Dr. Ned Daphne, who went on to become chancellor of the North Orange County Community College District. You know, I feel that the LACCD budget process has never necessarily favored Los Angeles Southwest College, but we highlight also Dr. Yasmin Delahousie, the African-American woman as president of LASC, who did in fact balance our budget 2013 to 2014 without any forgiveness from the board. She also co-developed Los Angeles Southwest College's 50th anniversary archives, accounting to taxpayers as to how we spend taxpayers' money. That is an important piece of history Dr. Delahousie has written. I would be remiss, board members, if indeed I didn't say something about three men who we endear. Those three men that took LASC to the NFL. First round draft picks, Chris Mims with the Chargers. First round draft pick, Mark Fields with the New Orleans Saints. And finally, I certainly must mention Mr. Larry Brown, Super Bowl MVP with the Dallas Cowboys when they played. And there are other students, of course, that we endear. Of course, our own Assembly member, Mike Gibson, and our own family organization, COO, Mr. Torrance Brannon Reese, and of course, our Harvard graduate, Miss Venetia Reed. Now, very quickly, 50 years prior to the last 4 years, ladies and gentlemen, LASC had the largest African-American and Black student population on this side of the Mississippi River. I wonder what happened. Back in October, I think it was Shaka Satori who shared with this board that education leaders, as we are and have been, should never engineer rivalries. We should be healing our student populations, never pitting students against each other. Strategies for the Development of the African-American Man-Child, a national conference that was developed at LA Southwest, a LA Southwest original. Those conferences were held from 1992 to 2017, touching the lives of well over 15,000+ individuals, largely men. This particular model has been replicated around the country. And you see one of those men standing with me today, Pastor Bruce McCall. Those conferences have been keynoted and supported by the likes of Reverend Cecil L. Murray, the likes of the late Mayor Tom Bradley, the likes of USC law professor Jody Armour, who's also an elections commentator. Former chiefs, we've had Bernard Parks, Willie Williams, we've had 2 Inglewood police chiefs, and a UCLA scholar in 2017, we're very proud to say, Dr. Tyrone Howard. In closing, I'd like to say quickly, in July of 2019, then trustees Zvankin and Buelna proposed the district set aside $2 million for educating Black men, and later they added Black women. But we have been given to understand, colleagues, that the motion was never advanced. We are wondering why. As my son has said to me, it's not always about who's got the vision. Rather, it's about who catches the vision. Pastor McCall has shared with you our purpose and our mission. I've just given you a small lens view, if you will, so that you would know how sincere we are indeed about our purpose, our mission, and our vision. Done.
Thank you very much. We did have one additional speaker, Antonetta Rhodes. Is Ms. Rhodes going to be speaking?
Trustee Bruno, we have one more. She's in the panelist section. Elizabeth, please unmute yourself.
Yes, thank you. Can you all hear me? I'm
Yes,
going to
we
have tech issues.
Yes, we can.
Great. Thank you for letting me address the board. I first off am a 1521A delegate for LACC for everything my fellow 1521A members have spoken on. However, what I want to address is the Andres Payan case. And that is something that is very difficult for me to believe that.
Ma'am, that's gonna, at the end of the meeting, there's a section for closed agenda items. And at that point, you could address the board. This is not the right section for that.
Well, then I'd simply reiterate the call for a livable wage and also just remind you that not only is this district serving students, it's also serving staff members, and a lot of students and staff members are disabled, myself included, and that livable wage and access to healthcare is really critical. And so please look at our proposal seriously.
Thank you. And I remind you that at the end of the meeting, you'll have the opportunity to address that issue for closed agenda items. I want to make sure that you, hopefully you do that. Thank you. All right, seeing no additional speakers, we're now going to move on to reports from the board. Trustee Fong, could you please address the proceedings of the Public Affairs Committee that you chaired on January 19th?
Thank you so much, President Bona, and I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe in these very challenging times. And thank you to everyone who provided public comment. Thank you to my colleagues, Trustees Vela and Henderson, for a robust Legislative and Public Affairs Committee meeting on February 2nd. To start off our agenda that day, we had a robust presentation on LACCD student housing partnerships. Mr. Sam Prater, founder and CEO of LA Women Board, gave a robust report of his organization's efforts to house LACCD students and to provide them with life skills. Currently, LA Women Board has a capacity to house 40 LACCD students at the Opportunity House located in Westwood. He's also planning to open 2 additional locations, one on the east side in Boyle Heights and the other in Pasadena, that will be available to house up to 100 additional students by the end of 2022. We thank Mr. Prater for his partnership with the LA Community College District. I know a number of my colleagues have hosted Zooms for him with legislative deputies, including Trustee Vela, who organized that as well with Ms. Veloz. But also a number of my colleagues have also attended functions of LA Women Board and visit the Opportunity House. So thank you to my colleagues, Chancellor, and everyone for their leadership and efforts with LA Women Board. Secondly, Ms. Veloz gave a robust report on the LACCD housing partnerships with 4 additional organizations that are providing student housing that will be coming online in the coming weeks. These organizations also include the Shower of Hope, Hoviness Inc., the Seed House Project, and Optimus Youth Home Family Services. In total, the 5 organizations plan to house up to 276 students by the end of 2022. And thank you so much again to my colleagues, Trustee Vela, for putting some of these partnerships together, and to all my colleagues for all their leadership and efforts around student housing initiatives. Then we proceeded on to have reports from federal, state, and local advocates. At the federal report, Ms. Leslie Poner from Holland and Knight gave a robust report outlining the federal efforts being pursued on behalf of the LA Community College District. Major updates included LA City College secured a nearly $1 million grant in basic needs from the Department of Education. And also there was an update on the appropriations with the top House and Senate negotiators on the fiscal year 2022 spending package, and really looking at how we can secure additional funds going forward. I know we also have some legislative visits coming forward with our federal legislators. On the state legislative and budget reports, reports were given by our state advocates, including Dr. Dale Shimasaki from Strategic Education Services, Mr. Mark McDonald from MGI Advocacy, Felonies from Resolute. All proposed bills and budget items were unanimously accepted by the committee, and our proposals included also a bill authored by Assemblymember Miguel Santiago on tuition-free bachelor degrees program. Also looking at additional on instructional service agreements authored by Assemblymember Amara Suchi, a partnership with Assemblymember Isaac Bryan on Higher Up for the Career for Justice Involved Youth. We also have a proposal put forward by Trustee Board President Buona on disaggregation of data in the Latino community, and that's something that's a partnership with Cal CCTA. So we'll give an update there. We also had budget proposals on the LA Mission College Biotech Institute for nearly $3 million. The California Center for Climate Change that was addressed by Board President Bona earlier with West LA College President Limbaugh for nearly $5 million. Student Transit Pass Funding Program of nearly $2 million. I thank you to Trustee Veras for his leadership and efforts around those issues, along with Trustee Vela and everyone else around student transit passes. The Higher Up program, looking at additional funds for ethics studies, faculty hiring, and then looking at how we can increase the base funding, community college-based funding increase. We also looked at budget proposals for CalSTRS and CalPERS, employer contribution. And then finally, we also had Ms. Willis gave a report on the outlining our legislative and advocacy communications that have occurred in the past months, including a press conference that was co-hosted by LACCD and LA Metro to announce the Go Past Fearless initiative that was attended by the Chancellor and Trustee Vedas. Lastly, we just had a robust trip for the Sacramento Legislative Conference. The Community College League of California held its annual legislative conference, and a delegation of LACCD leadership attended the conference and had virtual meetings with 11 legislative offices and key administration officials to discuss LACCD's 2022 legislative and budget priorities. We were joined by Board President Buona, First Vice President David Vela, Second Vice President Michelle Henderson, Chancellor Rodriguez, Ms. Veloz, and Trustees Hoffman and Vedas joined us virtually. And we had a robust meetings, and we look forward to a future robust meeting coming up in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much, Board President Buona.
Thank you. I really appreciate that the complete report. Trustee Hoffman.
Thank you, President Buona, and good afternoon, colleagues. Before I get to my budget committee report, I just want to piggyback on Trustee Fong's really great report, and thank you, Dr. Gribbins, for allowing your family resource to participate in the conference in Sacramento, the League Conference. They were sought out by Dr. Pam Luster, who's the president of San Diego Mesa College, to present on basic needs and present what they're doing with the Family Resource Center. And they made an accommodation to allow for them to present virtually. And so I'm really grateful for that. And thank you so much, Trustees Vela and Buona, for attending the session and sending me pictures. Really appreciate it. And we really appreciate Valley College and Dr. Marnie Roosevelt being so available and willing to participate in the conference. So I just wanted to say that publicly. We had our first budget committee meeting chaired by me. I haven't chaired that committee in a couple of years. At the Budget and Finance Committee, we received a report on the governor's January budget proposal, which consists of approximately $43 million of ongoing funding for the district and a significant amount of one-time funds, more than $45 million for LACCD. We also received the first quarterly financial report by location. At first quarter, the projected ending balances by location total approximately $35 million. We did have a conversation about a possible special budget committee meeting, but we have figured out, thanks to Ms. Gordon, that we can actually do our business, which is going to be to accept the audit at our upcoming February 16th budget committee meeting. And then that recommendation will be on the March 2nd board meeting for the rest of the board to approve. And that's my very short report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Hoffman. Trustee Henderson, please summarize the proceedings of the Institutional Effectiveness and Student Success Committee that you chaired on January 19th, please.
Thank you, President Buona. Good evening, colleagues. The Committee for Institutional Effectiveness and Student Success met on Wednesday, January 19th. The committee received 2 presentations and a report. The first presentation was from LA Mission College, where President Aguiar and presented their updated mission, vision, values, and affirmation statement as a demonstration of the college's commitment to address inherent racism in the LACCD as a major educational system. I'd like to give kudos to President Aguiar and Mission College team. And on behalf of the district's critics and cynics, we do look forward to seeing the actions that support the language in the document. The committee voted to recommend the submission for board approval, and it is on today's agenda.
The second presentation was on classroom technology from LA Pierce College and the college's implementation of the new OWL technology that President Aguiar discussed earlier in her brief report. Apparently, these owls are the rage of our Valley colleges. The owl is a camera technology that looks like an owl, eyes and all, designed to improve student engagement through a hybrid or dual delivery approach and providing in-person and online instruction simultaneously. Use of the owl includes pedagogical training for faculty to encourage creativity and meeting students' academic and social needs. And finally, the committee received a report on the timeline for accreditation reports and governance reports will come to IESS in June of this year and to the board in July. And the commission will review the district's final report in October. And we look forward to a visit in March of 2023. Future meetings will include a reporting on requested information tied to student enrollment pertaining specifically to students' preference in instructional delivery options, and a comparison of the impact of LACCD's decline in enrollment on the state average. And Mr. President, so ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Henderson. Trustee Vela, you have two committees. You have the, could you please summarize the proceedings of the Facilities Master Planning and Oversight Committee they chaired on January 19th? And could you also, after that one, please summarize the proceedings, please summarize the proceedings of the LGBTQIA plus Affairs Committee that you chaired on January 26th.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
If it's okay, I would like to report on the LGBT committee under special committees with my rest of my colleagues, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, only because I don't want to seem like I'm going to talk forever, like sometimes other people used to. Like Mike Fong. No, I'm kidding. No, totally kidding. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to really briefly report out on my first FinPOC meeting, Facilities Master Planning and Oversight Committee for the district. And I was really happy to see that Trustee Fong joined us, as well as President Buena. So that was really, really cool to see. We were really impressed by LA Harbor College. They brought an amazing rendering of the LA Harbor College Southeast Hall schematic design review. The second floor is going to have nursing courses. It's extremely impressive, as well as from the outside. So I thought it was just, just really beautiful. And then the first floor is also going to have student services and just a real magical building. So really happy about that. Another thing that I'm spearheading with this committee is really looking at the district's facilities needs. We've come a long way, and I want to thank my colleague in particular, Trustee Steve Vettis, who led the fight along with the other trustees to really upgrade our facilities. And so now we're trying to see how we can continue to do that and move forward to see how we can incorporate, for example, we're talking about the OWL or whatever, what we can do to provide some more, technology and for the district in particular. So I'm really excited about looking at those facilities needs. There's currently a study being done, or we're putting those pieces together to see if there is indeed those needs, and then ultimately discuss whether or not we would put a bond in this November's ballot. So that's something that we're looking at carefully. Hopefully that it goes really well. Of course, this is just all looking into it. And then and also what we're doing at the facilities committee is, everyone has their, from extreme, what people are doing in student housing. We were just over in Sacramento, and there's a lot of extremes. Like there's people building like dormitory style housing, like at Orange Coast and Santa Rosa, and then there's people doing what we're doing, which is super awesome, which is, going into partnerships for student housing, working with Shower of Hope, Jóvenes Inc., and LA Women Board. And I want to thank you, Chancellor, for that, because you've been a big impact in that. And we sent out kind of looking at how many students are currently able to access, and we're looking like at 200 beds, which is just phenomenal. So, but also looking at what, as a district, we can all hash out, and trustees, along with our college presidents, along with our students, along with our chancellor, what could look like a student housing policy for the district. Again, it's pretty ambitious, but it's a lot of work. But we're looking at all that. And we are having our next FinPOC on February 16th. We are gonna have some updates. And so with that being said, because we are moving fast on the assessment, President Buelna, I might be looking into having my FinPOC, invite all the trustees to get an update on that, or create a board meeting separate from FinPOC on that day. I haven't, you and the chancellor can look into that. Other than that, just a lot of stuff. Thank you.
All right. Because the Board of Trustees believes in extreme accuracy, we're going to go back to Trustee Henderson for an update.
Thank you, President Buelna. I made a mistake in my presentation. The LA Mission presentation was from President Ornelas, and the presentation on the owls was from President Aguiar.
Thank you very much. CNN might have lost its president, but those skill levels are on the Board of Trustees. I just want to make sure we acknowledge that. So moving on, we will move on to Student Trustee Martinez. Could you please summarize the proceedings of the Student Affairs Committee that you chaired on January 14th? And if you could please also tell us which Board of Trustee member was present.
Yes, thank you so much, President Buelna. So hello, everyone. Good afternoon, colleagues. So yes, on January 14th, Trustee Vela was very gracious enough to come and give his report and speak at the SAC to update us on all his efforts as the Faculties Committee Chair, which I and of course the committee members really enjoyed. Actually, many of the committee members do come and give public comment at the Board of Trustees. So many of them thought that it was really cool to be able to be in a more like personal or one-on-one setting with the trustees. So thank you so much again to Trustee Vela. And of course, as always, I welcome and encourage the rest of my colleagues to come and join us at our next Student Affairs Committee meeting. Moving on, I reminded my committee members about the Metro Go passes, and I shared with them where their students can locate them on each campus. Now that we do have more students back on campus, it is important for our students to be able to utilize these cards, being that we are students back on campus, at least partially for the spring semester. So I also nominated a student to sit on the Sheriff's Oversight Committee, and we plan as a committee to take a vote to potentially appoint that student in our next meeting. So we really look forward to that. In our prior Affairs Committee meeting, we had the California Community College's President Ricardo Chavez give us a presentation and an introduction on resolutions and the resolution creating process. But I had a discussion with my committee, and as a committee, we decided that the committee would like and would benefit from a more in-depth workshop on resolutions and on the resolution creating process. So I look forward to having this workshop for the committee members. Our next meeting coming up this month, once again hosted by the SS Chavez. We also came to an agreement that each committee member would work with their ASO members to return with 3 to 5 student-centered needs that we could potentially formulate into a resolution. This would follow as a discussion after the resolution workshop that we plan on having. So I look forward
to working with the committee members and my fellow trustees to draft resolutions that are going to work towards creating and supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion across our district. And thank you so much. At this time, that is all for my board report.
Thank you for that. When is the next meeting?
The next meeting, I believe, is going to be on, let me check my calendar. I believe it is going to be on the 11th.
February
I can
11th?
double check that. Give me 1 second. I will send you the correct date, but I believe it is going to be on the 11th.
We've verified it. So I'm going to ask our trustees, which trustee would like to volunteer to attend with student trustee Martinez? February 11th at 9 a.m. Those trustees are checking their calendars.
Can I ask a question? Is it on, it's a Zoom meeting, Trustee Martinez?
Yes, Trustee Hoffman, it is a Zoom meeting, and I do understand that you all have very busy schedules. So what Trustee Vela did was he came and he gave his report. I put him right at the top of the agenda, taking into account his busy schedule. And right after he gave his report, he exited the meeting. So if there is any time constraints, I do take that into account on the agenda.
Thank you. I can attend at 9. It's 9 o'clock, right? It used to be 9:30. Are you
Yes,
doing
it is at 9:30.
It's at 9:30? Okay, I'll be there. I can do it.
Thank you, Trustee
Perfect.
Hoffman.
Thank you so much, Trustee Hoffman.
You're welcome.
We will expect a very detailed report, Trustee Hoffman.
Can I get on the agenda early? Because I have a standing meeting at 11 that day, so.
Yes, I can put you at the top of the agenda.
Thank you, and I'll stay as long as I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Vela, it is back to you since you are the commit. Could you please summarize the proceedings of the LGBTQIA Affairs Committee, since that's the only other committee that we're waiting for?
Yes, let me pull up the agenda that we did. It was a very busy. I want to thank also the Chancellor for doing his welcoming remarks. Thank you so much, Chancellor. Really appreciate it. We did have a wonderful guest speaker, Dr. Sofia Pertuz. Chancellor, would you like to kind of summarize her presentation, only because I know you know of her, and it was just fantastic. Do you mind?
Yeah, not at all.
Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you, Trustee Vela. Happy to. You hear me okay?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I got a note here. Yeah, Dr. Bertus comes to us very well credentialed in the LGBTQIA plus space. She's been a researcher, a faculty member, leader in the discussion around rights for and support for academic communities that build environments for LGBTQ students. She was a co-author of a report that we reviewed, a national study report that talked about the conditions to improve so that the LGBTQ students could feel safe, could have academic performance enhanced, could have the support services to allow them to be a fully integrated part of the academic community. So she laid out the results of the national study that I thought was very, very interesting. She interacted with our 30, 40, 50 people who are online who constitute the advisory committee that you chair, Vice President Vela. And perhaps most importantly, and certainly what I caught from the presentation, is that as she looked at the architecture of environments that portend or desire or are doing excellent work in this particular space, she called out LACCD.
Yeah.
And she talked about the very many things that we had done, were underway, or were envisioned to be part of an environment that supports our said student, faculty, and staff population. So that was very affirming in some ways that we were indeed on the right track. And she commended us for that. So that only enhances our particular interest and vision and invigorates us to continue to do this work under your leadership, Vice President Vela. And moving forward, I think it really inspired and empowered us to say that, we were doing the right sorts of things. So we won't rest on our laurels. She particularly pointed out the LGBTQIA plus Bill of Rights that this board unanimously approved a couple of now, it seems like a year plus ago, as a model document that she has shared with institutions across the country. So she was an excellent speaker, and we brought her for our professional development purposes, and she did an excellent job. So thank you, Doctora Pertus.
Yes, thank you so much, Chancellor, for summarizing Dr. Pertus's presentation. And we're lucky that we had her, and I think everyone was really excited to have her there. Next up, we led a student basic needs discussion, which went also really well. I think it all ties into our current, services that we're doing for LGBT students. We also looked into the budget earmark, along with Ms. Veloz, with each college and what they're submitting. And I think that date is coming up, right? It's not, it's soon. It's next week already? Okay, wonderful. And I know our colleges, a lot of them are applying for that $10 million statewide, which, I want to thank all of you. We celebrated that enough. And then also we had our faculty liaison report. We talked about Lavender graduation for 22. We talked about a survey that's going on to create an association for the district, where it includes students, faculty, staff. So it was just a very robust meeting. And I want to give a special thanks to Trustee Henderson for stopping by and representing the African American Committee, Chancellor's Advisory Committee. And we're excited to announce that we are going to have a joint meeting. At our next meeting will be joint. So I really hope that all of you can make it. And I think it's going to be focused on intersectionality. So thank you. And then with that being said, maybe Ms. Henderson can also report.
Oh, was there a committee? Yeah, there's.
Oh, okay. That's tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't that. Thank you. That's for that. Okay, we're gonna move on. I think it was awesome. The reports were detailed. Greatly appreciated. We're gonna move on to resolutions. May I have a motion and a second on F1, District Academic Employees Retirement? May I have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Vela, is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Fong, Trustee Moreno, this is like Jeopardy. You got to go quicker, sir.
Give it to Mr. Moreno.
All right, Mr. Moreno, you got it. Okay. Any comments from board members? All right, roll call.
Student Trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna.
Yes.
Trustee Fong.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Trustee Vela.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, next resolution to amend the 2022 calendar for the Board of Trustees, regular meeting and board committee meeting dates. May I have a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
move to approve. Oh,
You can give it to Trustee Hoffman.
Trustee Hoffman, motion, second by Trustee Bella. Comments?
I just want to thank Lupe for realizing that October 5th was Yom Kippur, I believe. So thank you so much. And that's why we're changing the date.
Thank you. No further comments, roll call?
Student Trustee Martinez advisory vote.
yes.
Trustee Buelna.
Yes.
Trustee Fong.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Vela.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you. Pass AB3, next one, AB 361 resolution to hold the board's regular meeting scheduled for February 16th and the committee regular meeting scheduled for March 2nd, 2022 via teleconference. May I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Trustee Hoffman, is there a second?
I'll second. And just for the record, trustee, as it reads, it includes also the special.
You read my mind, Trustee Vettis. So just to be clear from General Counsel, if there's any special meeting, if there's any board retreat, this covers everything, or do we have to amend it now in order to address any gap that might be?
No, this resolution covers everything for the next 30 days.
Okay. Are you sure there's no exception?
No exceptions.
Okay, got it. So if there might be a special plus meeting of something, and they'll cover that.
Got you covered.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Any, any other comments? Okay. We still need to have, if a board meeting is still gonna be hybrid the way it is, 4 of us still need to be present under this rule, correct?
That's been our practice, so we'll do the same on March 2nd.
Okay, now, that's attorney speak. Is that practice or is that the rule?
Technically, if there were fewer than 4 of you here, it would still be okay. Because
Okay.
we're under AB 361, in which in that circumstance, this would just be one of the teleconferencing sites.
Okay. So if I was just here by myself and the other 6 trustees members said, see you later, that we'd still be okay.
Yes, just like if it was 100% Zoom, which is what AB 361 allows. So
Got
whether
it.
you were at home or
All right.
here, we'll be okay.
All right. Thank you for telling us about the rule. Thank you very much. Oh, we need the motion and vote on this one. Roll call. Oh, any other comments? Roll call.
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buolna.
Yes.
Trustee Fong.
Yes.
Trustee Henderson.
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman.
Yes.
Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Trustee Vela.
Yes.
Trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next motion, resolution recognition of Black History Month and its significance to LACCD. Motion,
So moved.
trustee Vela, second,
Second.
trustee Henderson, true student trustee Martinez, sorry. Any comments?
Dr. Brunna, is there any way that I can be added to the authorship after?
Yeah, I think I think all board members would like to be, and I think we've done that's been our practice to add. So if we
Thank
can
you very
add
much.
everyone to- Comments? I'll start with our folks from our. Oh, I just noticed we don't have the screen in front of us. Oh, we have this thing in front of us. Any comments from our Zoom team?
You mean trustees
Yes.
on the Zoom?
Oh, not our Zoom technical team.
Oh, okay.
Our trustees on Zoom. Any comments from? Oh,
I
That's
would
what-
like to make a comment. Thank you, trustees Henderson, Buolna, and Fong for authoring this resolution. I would like to know, and I think some of the presidents spoke about it, but they can just send us information in our email, what colleges are doing in recognition on their campuses of Black History Month, and to please send us the invitations because we'd like to participate. So thank you.
Board members present, any comments? Trustee Fong, I'll start on your side.
Thank you so much, Trustee Henderson and Board President Buolna, and thank you, Trustee, for all your leadership and efforts around this resolution. And yes, as Trustee Hoffman's reference, we'd love to just get additional information, additional Black History Month events. And thank you so much again to Trustee Henderson and the board for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Trustee Vela?
Yes, I just wanted to also ask for a list of any of the events district-wide, and if we could also promote them to our students if possible. I know that there's been texts going out from various colleges and really exciting to see that, but that would be something that I would really appreciate. Thank you so much.
Trustee Henderson?
Yes, thank you, President Buolna. Happy Black History Month, everybody. I'd like to thank President Buolna and Trustee Fong for co-authoring this resolution and recognition of Black History Month. Although for me, Black History Month is every month, I always hold my head up a little higher in the month of February. In this month, we acknowledge the work and humanity of Blacks. My parents and Black teachers taught me about the work of Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and the Black Panthers, encouraged me to read works of Black intellectuals such as James Baldwin and Maya Angelou, and held their fists high in remembrance of freedom fighters like Sojourner Truth and Angela Davis. I recall the horrors against Black humanity as I navigate within a world where these horrors are still very much a part of the present. So this resolution is a reiteration of the need for the LACCD's commitment to improve life for our Black stakeholders through prioritizing ethnic studies programs, thriving and fully funding Umoja programs, facilitating discussions around critical race theory, diversity in hiring and promotion, and especially Black student outreach. So for me, standing on the shoulders of my ancestors, I live a small piece of Dr. King's dream with the opportunity to create a legacy within LACCD. And so I thank you all for your trust in me as a trustee, as well as my colleagues. And I look forward to the work that we are all continuing to do in the district towards racial equity. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll take the final comment. I do have a request from there's 3 committees, Trustee Henderson, that you're or 2 committees actually, the Committee on Black African American Affairs, and you're chairing also IESS. And I think the issue of AAOI has come up, not the issue, AAOI has moved on, is evolving. I think what I would request from either of the committees or a special ad hoc committee is to identify the funding that is necessary and potentially earmark it, and a recommendation from the committee and to staff it on identifying the necessary resources, either for AAOI's current mission statement or any derivative mission statements or associations or groups or activities that may be required or necessary in order to meet the needs of African American students. If could the committee, ad hoc committee or ISS, but actually my preference would be an ad hoc committee, come up with a resolution specifically and tie it to a budget request?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call.
Student Trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Buelna,
Yes.
Trustee Fong,
Yes.
Trustee Henderson,
Yes.
Trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
Trustee Moreno,
Yes.
Trustee Vela,
Yes.
Trustee Vettis. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Chancellor Rodriguez, report from the Chancellor. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Board President Buelna, members of the board. Good afternoon, colleagues throughout the district. I've got several pieces to share today in my Chancellor's report. First, I'd like to start with the 4 areas that I was asked to follow up with at the January 12th, 2022 meeting, and briefly give an update on each of those. Trustee Moreno asked for a report that would compare the number of employees in particular units from 5 years ago. That request is underway and not yet complete. When it is, I will submit that to the board. Secondly, Trustee Vettis asked if we could have any other updates on the staffing at the Human Resources Division. And I'm happy to report that Richard Von Colin has been hired as the Director of Employee and Labor Relations. We welcome Mr. Van Colin to HR and to LACCD. He has begun his service to this district, and we look forward to introducing him to the board in his important role to HR. Third area is Dr. Buelna, you asked me to keep a close eye on the ethics studies.
But I was specific, Chancellor. Are you getting there?
I'd get there.
Okay.
And ethics studies in particular for African American, Asian Pacific Islander, Native Americans, Chicanos, and Central Americans. We did submit an initial report on our course offerings that Dr. Corner prepared in his team and submitted to the board. The second piece of that is that there are 65 full-time tenure track faculty positions that will be hired this spring. That begins on February the 7th and next fall, and we're tracking both the racial and gender makeup of those who are hired for our faculty ranks. So we will report on that as it moves forward. And the last area that I was asked to report on was from Trustee Vettis, from Trustee Vela, pardon me.
Would you prefer questions after or during?
Why don't I stop after this section?
Okay.
And then Trustee Vela, you mentioned this in your report. We're working on a committee of the whole to put together, and we'll be speaking, you and I, on that very soon.
Okay.
And we'll get that together, get a date, and move forward with that. So those are the 4 areas, and I'm happy to respond to anything from the January 12th, 2022 meeting, sir.
Thank you very much. So as much as I would love to go first, I can't do that because I'm president. So Trustee Moreno, I need to know that what was presented to you right now, that you are comfortable with that. If not, then this is the opportunity to say so, sir.
Well, is that I believe that it was still work in progress and they're attempting to get information. That's fine.
Okay.
Although I really don't understand why it's so difficult to acquire in light of all of our computer accessibility and information, that we would have a difficult time of just not calling that up very quickly. So perhaps you might provide a reason why it's taken so long.
It's the owls. I'm just kidding.
No, Mr. Moreno, I remember, it's not that it's difficult, it's that we have other significant priorities that are in front of that. And I think last month I mentioned that, and I believe I got some assurance from our board president that this would not be available this month. We'll shoot to get it available next month.
I did because of the short time period, but on March 2nd, it will be #1 item.
Okay, all right.
All right.
President Vettis, you were not upset. Up next. I'm President Vettis, Trustee Vettis.
Thank you. No, I'm fine with the topics to cover.
Okay. Well, who was the last one? Oh, was it Trustee Vela?
There was also Trustee Vela, then yourself.
Okay, Trustee Vela, you go first.
Yeah, so the committee of the whole in March is also, thank you, Chancellor, appreciate it. Is I would like for us to, really look at the efforts that the college is already doing, because they're doing fantastic things, and then all that we are doing here at the district, especially through our committees, So I wanted to work with you to gather some information data, what the LGBT committee has been doing, African American affairs, and then have, perhaps our Vice Chancellor Corner and us kind of present to the colleges what we're doing in the district, and then, Metro Pass, all that, and kind of combine everything to show and discuss what we're doing for student basic needs, because I do think we're doing a lot, and a lot of our programs are being recognized, and as we saw in Sacramento at the league. So that's kind of the gist of it. Okay, thank you.
Now I'll go. So here's the chart that I'm looking for. There's 4 areas of focus within ethnic studies, because most just in terms of some folks may think that ethnic studies is something new. Ethnic studies has been around for 50, 60, 70 years, right? So in general, when people are talking about ethnic studies, they mean Black studies, Asian American, or we can say AAPI, Native American studies, Chicano studies, and / Central American studies. So I think last time there was an excellent job of identifying how many of those positions are currently here. The ethnic racial makeup of the 65 staff are important and it's good, but the focus of this particular is to see what positions will be hired in those ethnic studies positions, and not a generalized, and if there is a position that is called ethnic studies, what is the focus of that particular? Because sometimes folks will kind of mask certain positions, call it ethnic studies, and they're not able to identify what the area of focus is. For instance, I think we have 2 Black studies positions district-wide, right? So the next chart should be in the academic year 22-23, because that's when the new hires would begin. Does that number go to 3, 4, 5? Specifically in Black studies. We have same thing, AAPI, I think we're at 1 or 0.5 positions. So how many specific positions, and it would be important to know on what campuses they're specifically at. And I'm saying I'm being as specific as possible, only so folks when we're saying, oh, there's an ethnic position, we'll take credit for that one. No. Specifically under Native American studies, 0 positions. Does that mean that if it is 0, then we need to know if it's 0? Under Chicano studies, I believe there are 13 positions district-wide. I think there is one Central American position. So I would probably break down into 2 rows, 2 columns, Chicano studies. Where are they? And not, again, not that if someone is calling it ethnic studies at one college, but it's really not Chicano studies. And maybe there should be another category called general ethnic studies, not area specific, because we're being very specific in that. So that way we know it's very, very clear if there is a campus that has not moved on any of these positions, then it's very clear, right? Because we've talked a lot about racial and ethnic social justice, right? That chart should clarify whether that is being matched in the academic areas on those ethnic studies specific positions, right? So anyone can kind of replay this and understand that we're saying Black American studies, Native American studies, Chicano studies, Central American studies specifically, and if there's another category for ethnic studies, it's a separate category. So that way folks know specifically what we're talking about. So, and that should again guide us in understanding whether the priorities and everything that we've talked about with regard to social justice is actually being implemented by the colleges. Was that helpful, Chancellor?
Extremely helpful. Thank
you. Would anyone like to add anything to what I just said or disagree with anything that I just said?
President Brown, I do, again, after going to the league in Sacramento, I do support what you're saying. I do know that the legislature has been supportive, and although we have not been as successful in an ethnic studies mandate for community colleges, I do think that there is expectation for us to continue to hire and prioritize ethnic studies and the hiring of faculty for that. So thank you.
Right. And also, I'll get to you very quick, Trustee Moreno, that we do need to know whether in the non-ethnic studies that diversity is occurring in those fields, so that is, folks don't say, oh, we hired in ethnic studies, now we don't need to hire in math. Now we don't need to hire in the other. I've been around too long to know, that sometimes these games are played, right? So, Trustee, Trustee Moreno, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I in all due respect to all the excitement over these issues, I do think though it would be better if we approached it rather than being you and get involved in the details of how we operate, how many people we hire in a certain discipline. I think what should be happening, if it's a mandate, then the colleges should be held accountable for offering the number of sections needed to meet the need. And then they would determine whether or not they need to add additional staff to accomplish that need. For us to define a goal of adding people without specifically directive, without being tied into the classes being offered, I think is a very dangerous thing to do. I think it's critical that if we are going to implement the curriculum changes mandated by the state, that the college should have the opportunity to determine how it tends to fill those positions. And if there's a need for additional full-time staff, then so be it. But for us to identify an arbitrary number as though it's met the goal, I think is beyond our responsibility.
I'm not asking for any goals. I'm just asking to count.
Well, that's what my point is. Identifying the success of this effort is by how many staff you hired. And I think it's the other way around. The reality is what services we're providing to our students. And then that would direct us as to how many faculty, if any, we have to hire to meet the demand of those classes. For us to identify as the number of people we define as a goal, I mean, that's cart before the horse type thing.
Got it. Chancellor Rodriguez.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Moreno, if I may add to the members of the board some context to your last statement. The 65 positions, which will include ethnic studies faculty, have all gone through the normal, scrutinized, and rigorous faculty prioritization process at each of the colleges. Now, these positions that we're describing now for this particular discipline have not circumvented or played outside of the normal prioritization process that is governed at the local level, something that we have been prepared for and discussing that for some time now. So your point is well taken. And when they are prioritized and they do get to the top of the list and are indeed hired, they have to, as part of the criteria, demonstrate that there is student demand, student interest, adjuncts or full-timers that can teach those courses so that we can meet the demand. With online education now, the courses literally can be taken from anywhere. So we're hopeful that that'll provide some extended reach. I would close the discussion with the state laws that have been put into place over the last 2 years. At the high school level, Assembly Bill 101, authored by Mr. Medina, is in fact state law, that now every high school person or every high school graduate will have to take ethnic studies as part of the high school graduation requirements. So that is in law. So our ability to teach dual enrollment, we have 10,000 dually enrolled students now. This could give us an opportunity to expand that as we look expand enrollments overall. It provides a very sweet spot, if you will, for us. And then 2 years ago, then Senator Weber authored Assembly Bill 1460 that mandates ethnic studies as part of the California State University requirements for graduation. So now we are seeking, LACCD is sponsoring a statutory bill that would put in a law that would put in ethnic studies as a graduation requirement for an associate's degree. It is true, as has been pointed out by this board, that there has been a regulatory change from the Board of Governors, Title V, that does not require ethnic studies as a graduation requirement, but is not statutory. It is simply regulatory, which means it does not need or position itself to receive any funding whatsoever. We believe that is just a disadvantage to it, a very important discipline. So that's why I'm thinking that.
Let me just add some meat to the bone here for a minute.
Okay.
We're acting as though we're facing an institution that's in the incline as opposed to decline. That we are looking at numbers every semester that are declining. There will be a point where you're going to have to determine which of these disciplines you wish to cut in order to accomplish the task of adding. So this is a very different world we live in. So I'm not sure we want to, these robust efforts are dependent upon a continued growth or, even maintenance of what our enrollment was maybe a few years ago. But in light of the current decline and the fact that we have not taken action to reduce our staff needs, I think we need to talk about planning and how we develop or how we would address these additional increases in service. I think you're going to have to, at one point in time, you're going to have to take something from Peter to pay Paul, because you have a zero-sum game. And as we decline the number of students we serve, and we have a certain amount of money earned by that number of students, and you're going to have to determine whether you're going to offer an English class or auto tech class or whatever these other classes might be. And then you may have to include that into the whole issue that we're talking about now. So I think it's important that there's some plan rather than going about as though it appears, and excuse me for feeling this way, but I just get these feelings that we seem to be acting as though everything is normal, and it really isn't normal. So as we begin to have a bigger demand for educational activity on our campuses, there's going to be have to draw back in other areas. We've already heard complaints from some of our colleagues about some of the dance classes. So the bottom line is, what are we going to do about meeting the demand for the entire institution and the declining enrollment? And add to that the additional requirements of adding staff in the other areas, which is a tremendous difficult task to accomplish. Thank you.
Chancellor, for providing that additional context. I think as we laid out here with AB 101, AB 1460, and the community college transfer, that discussion with the CSU system, and make sure that we have the transfer portability as well. I think this is the critical time on these issues. And when we talk about dual enrollment for high school students and opportunities to boost enrollment, I just remember poignantly at the legislative summit that we just came from on Sunday, a student really made point of it, says, hey, I really want to make sure that when I go to my classroom, and really made a very strong point about diversity in the classroom as well. And so that's something that really struck a tone. And it was a very powerful student panel. They all had very strong perspectives up there. So I think as we look at Project Match, as we look at how we build the diversity, and really, I'm glad that this went through the shared governance process and that we look at the numbers on ethics studies. So thank you, President Bona, for really bringing this forward and really looking how we can bolster these classes and these studies on our campuses. And I think that's an area, I think it could be a win-win in terms of when we talk about enrollment, we talk about ethics studies. I think it's an opportunity to really build upon that. So thank you, President Bona.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, members of the board. Let me continue with the last part of my report here. First, here are the topics to cover. I got some slides that I'll be ably supported with. So I bring your attention again and to the members of the board. You received the monthly Chancellor's Monthly for the month of February. This posted for all to read. It's a significant document. It's got information on our status of COVID, LACCD enrollment updates, of course, our support and updates on our foundation for the district. And this month, we're highlighting Black History Month that many of you have highlighted already, special news, other events, and then where we appear in the media. So that's in the Chancellor's monthly report, and happy to talk a little bit more about that. Going on to the next slide here, I just wanted to give a quick COVID update here. We're entering the second anniversary now. We've completed essentially at the end of this month 2 full years. We're hopeful that the surge that was upon us, and looks like, according to data, that it peaked in January, and then now we've got more cases that are reported. Thankfully, more persons are indeed vaccinated. So the impact of those positive cases has been minimal. I am happy to report that we have about 95% and growing of all of our LACCD employees who are indeed vaccinated. Others have turned in their exemptions for religious or medical reasons, but we're just about at a 100%, not quite, and we're still working towards that. Each of our campuses have plenty of PPE and have put their locations, as they have done for the last several months, as testing centers, as vaccination centers, and whatnot. So not just servicing campus employees, but the communities as well. Last month, the board initiated and amended its board policy 2900 that indeed now requires boosters to be in place. So we'll be working with our employee groups. We've started the discussions on effects bargaining to see when we'd like that to be done and to establish a deadline. I would reiterate the point that was made at one of the recent town halls, and that is that there have been no outbreaks in January throughout LACCD. So kudos to all the safety officers, the college presidents, all those administrative persons who are working to keep our faculty, staff, and students indeed safe. Next slide. I wanted just to point this out. If any person, it's not enough attention is given to mental health. This is a time of tremendous anxiety, tremendous feelings of perhaps being overwhelmed and whatnot. Simply wanted to extract, this is in the Chancellor's report, but really to set on this moment that if you know of or you're feeling any kind of depression, anxiety yourself as a result of this 2 years of a worldwide global health pandemic, there's help for you. Please reach out for that. Next slide, please. Moving forward, I'm very happy to report that yesterday we had close to 900 persons attend our enrollment town hall. And in addition, to what you've heard already from the college president's reports earlier this afternoon, I wanted to underscore what are going to be some significant changes, improvements, interventions to how we conduct our affairs in the area of enrollment, related to the revision of the onboarding process, the redesign of our websites, which we completed in the fall semester, the early fall semester, expanding our district-wide marketing and outreach, the launch of our district-wide call center, full engagement with our high school seniors. And I'm happy to report that my initial visit with new LAUSD Superintendent Alberto Carvalho went very, very well. We're planning now to get in front of every single high school senior before they graduate, to have each of them apply through CCC apply and fill out a FAFSA form. And I was very explicit with Dr. Carvalho. I said, there is a seat for every single one of your graduates at one of our 9 colleges. And we plan to hold to that promise. As Trustee Henderson will attest, and as tomorrow's meeting with the Advisory Committee on Black African American Student Affairs will attest. We're going to redouble our efforts around African American outreach and retention of our students with significant and bolstered investments in that particular space through the leadership of Dr. Ornelas and others, and Dr. President Aguilar. We're going to rebrand non-credit in such a way there's a significant adult learner population that is not served very well. While we've bolstered adult education over the last several years, it was dormant when I got here. While it's better now, there's simply more that we can do to reintegrate, redeploy, upskill persons who have been dislocated perhaps from this pandemic and other situations. So that is something that we're going to do. Dr. Gribbins and Dr. Corner leading the work on two-year mapper and enrollment integration with others. And then, of course, retaining the students who have entrusted their educational lives to us. So I just wanted to extend what came out of our recent Chancellor's Retreat as ways to boost enrollment at LACCD. Next slide, please. Mr. Fong, Trustee Fong gave already a robust report, so I won't spend much time on these. Mr. Santiago is carrying the 4-year tuition-free bill. The ethnic studies requirement of statute is something that we continue to pursue, and we thank Assemblymember Mersucci for assisting us with the technical component to how ISAs or public service academies are funded, police, fire academies, first responders, EMTs, so we can bolster our revenue for those FTES. We've talked about establishing a climate center. Mr. Fong went over this report. That's a $5 million request for West LA College. There will be a district-wide program on establishing climate studies and effort. A $3 million request carried by Senator Hertzberg for expanding biotechnology at LA Mission. We're asking Senator Durazo to carry our LA Metro Fairless Initiative, about a $3 million proposition. I would add that we've asked Senator Feinstein, that it is a federal earmark for several $1 million to allow each of our students to receive a LA Metro Pass, the Go Pass, as it's been called, at no expense. Working with former Senator and now County Supervisor Holly Mitchell to establish a higher up program. You've heard of that for formerly incarcerated individuals who will be coming to our community, to our county. And of course, we support the general community college supports, if you will, the league's support and the system-wide supports to support base funding increases. We still are chronically underfunded as a 2-year system. Then lastly, to support our reductions for employer contributions to both CalSTRS and CalPERS, and those have gone up dramatically over the last 5 or so years. So it gives you a sense of that the work continues rigorously as we now navigate our 2 years of this pandemic. The work does not stop. We won't stop on this. Next slide as I conclude here. So, of course, thank you for your tremendous support and unanimous support for Black History Month. I'd like to, in the next see, and this will go out to all LACCD employees tomorrow, the resolution itself. Happy to share these kinds of activities that are going on. These will all be sent to you. Next slide, please. Activities, areas of support. You can see the outreach that's going on, the professional development occurring at each of the schools, and how each of the campuses are utilizing this month here to bring focus, attention, and necessary interest and attention to the plight of Black African Americans in this country. I mean, we all learn and grow from our experiences this month. So proud of all the excellent work, speakers, professional development activities, and intentional work that is going on in this particular space. I want to also announce, and if you've not heard already and are currently aware of this really, I think, remarkable and one of a kind and initial opportunity to work with one of the most renowned theater companies in Los Angeles, the Latino Theater Company, led by Artistic Director and President Jose Luis Valenzuela, Emeritus Professor from UCLA. And we're very pleased to announce that beginning in April, students can sign up now. We will have an opportunity to have students participate in theater courses, an art course offered through LA Mission College. And these students will be able to view the productions from the LTC reflect on the intersectionality of some of the content of this theater company. So it's a wonderful, I think, demonstration of both community, artistic, and then cultural awareness through our theater arts department at LA Mission College, Dramatic Arts. So we thank them for their leadership in this, and to Dr. Nellis for putting this together. Just special announcements. You've heard the student already announced, Kiki Washington. We salute this scholar athlete from LA Pierce College, the first ever, you see, All-American athlete in women's soccer. So in the Pierce College's history. So we salute Kiki, congratulations. I'd like to find out where she's going next to see, hopefully she got both an academic and athletic scholarship. So congratulations, Kiki. And then, this is a big deal here. On February 13th at SoFi Stadium, the Rams are going to take the field. No, it's not my 49ers, as I hoped it would be, but the LA Rams, a suitable representative of the national conference will take on this game. But, I really want to salute and really point out the five Southwest College theater students who can perform during halftime. That's pretty cool. That's a big show. Only billions of people watching. That's all. That's it. But it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for our students to get exposed, to do what they love, and to be literally on the biggest stage. So we salute each of them to that. I'll conclude my report, Mr. President, with my really joy, honor to speak at the 7th Annual Disability Summit that was hosted at LA Mission College. And I want to thank Adrian Gonzalez, all the DSPS coordinators, those who put their minds and hearts to providing a day of professional development on how we as an academic community could better support students with disabilities. And I wanted to extract a couple of announcements from that as I conclude my report. And one is that as we start thinking and using the words DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, that's part of our vernacular. Now there are units, departments, speeches, presentations, persons who are, we use this acronym very fluidly and importantly to describe what it is that we're intending to do. I would like to, move on and expand that to DEIA, access, really as a way to draw a nod to our persons, communities with disabilities. So that will be something you will see me using. I hope that others will adopt that in not just our language, but in our documentation to really point a nod to our students from all colors, all backgrounds, all walks of life who may possess both a physical and or a hidden disability. So I'd like us to consider that as we move forward. I will certainly do so forcefully and intentionally. Then lastly, in the same way that we have advisory committees for a variety of subjects, communities that we care a lot about, you heard about all of them today. I will be looking to get an advisory committee around students with disabilities that will help to advise this board in our central administration on how we can better serve our students with disabilities. So with that, Mr. Board President, I will conclude my report and happy to respond to anything I've shared thus far.
Just one last thing, Crystal, can you go back to that slide on the Chancellor's slide with regard to mental health? I just want to make sure and highlight that real quick. I mean, as we all appreciate here in Los Angeles that our mental health was improved with the Rams winning, and not San Francisco. So let them stay up north. Now I want to just can you bring that one up again? So is the specific slide up?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Call LA County Department of Mental Health free helpline 24 hours a day, 1-800-854-7771, or send text to message LA to 741-741. The reason I'm saying is that I think I know it is extremely important. In general, we should do it anyway, but there's a lot of folks out there that might need assistance, and just take down this number. If you're a president, you should send it out to all of your to everyone within the district, so folks have the resources. You don't know through your communication or through the district's communication hint to our PR team to put that out there in order for that information to go out there to people. We don't know if someone will use it at 11:59 p.m. to help someone. So the only reason to focus on this is to say we're a large district with institutional authority, and we should use that authority to make sure folks have the resources in order to make sure that the number of suicides are hopefully eliminated. So I just wanted to make sure that clear as we move on to the last of our meeting. And you can do that randomly too as individuals, also by simply being nice to people, smiling and asking people to smile randomly, not just because you're a contractor or they owe you something. We all have an obligation to be nice. We all have the obligation to do our job, but you can always do it in a way that is simply humane. And if you can't do it humanely, then you really have to ask yourself, what are you doing specifically, or do you need help if you're in that position? So, social worker side will now cease, and I'm back. So, we will now move to item H.
I actually have a question on the report, on the Chancellor report.
Chancellor Rodriguez.
Okay. Chancellor, I did meet with several members of the WEC committees in the district, including some of the AFT members, and they have concerns in coming back in person fully for starting February 6th. One of the things that I'm also concerned in hearing some of the students over in Sacramento is, are we meeting students where they're at, right? And I'm just a little bit confused as to why the county is, allowing a Super Bowl to happen, yet on the other hand, saying that there's millions of people, or thousands of people passing away of COVID. As you know, my partner's family died of COVID. It was very painful. Where are we with our students? Are they comfortable coming back in person? I don't have data. I would like to have data, because even though the goal of mine that I share with a lot of the trustees and certainly the administration, that we should come back, especially because it matters to us and the quality education, I'm still not really seeing students kind of enthusiastic about coming back. So I would really appreciate, the district doing some surveys or information on where our students at on how they feel about coming back. And I'm not talking necessarily about, I'm very comfortable with how the county has given direction, the policies on higher ed, but I'm also just, I would like to hear some information from the students on where they're at in comfort level, and present it to the board, as soon as we can, obviously. But question to you, what is the county's guideline right now? If you can clarify that, and what has been the response from students in wanting to come back in person? Thank you.
Okay, let me get Dr. Nish to come in the room where she could explain specifically what the county guidelines are, because she and the Emergency Operations Center, EOC, and the campus safety officers at the college are monitoring this daily. So I want to be precise with that, and we're following that,
of course,
to the letter. To the second point about student opinions, I believe, Trustee Vela, that students are voting partially with their modality of what they're choosing. For right now, when we began, or we're close to, and I'll ask Dr. Corner to check this, but we're roughly 50-50 on ground in meaning in-person classes that begin on February 2nd, 7th, and the other half or so that is remote or hybrid. So, and we've seen classes cancel first that are on ground. When we shift them to on ground, they enroll. So is that because the students prefer more convenient, less travel, all those the activities, they prefer to learn that way, or is it because they are feeling fearful? We're not hearing that our campuses feel unsafe as a whole. We're not hearing that from students because our campuses are not. They're relatively, they might be the safest places on the county with respect to the environments, the PPE that we have, the testing and vaccination mandate that we have. If any person steps on a campus or this facility, you have to go through a testing protocol and whatnot. So it's our contention that when faculty, staff, and students are on campus, that they are indeed safe. That is, that the risk of being infected or the risk of having ill effects of that of that infection are minimized, because most of the people around them are indeed vaccinated and indeed boosted. So the risk level is much, much lower. Are there higher positivity cases? Yes. This Omicron variant was rampant. The impact of those who caught this last one was far, far, far less, with ultimately lower hospitalizations and lower deaths. So, so we feel that our campuses, we know from our folks who are keeping our campuses clean, sanitized, by our health checks, by the PPE that's being done, and whatnot. At 3 of our colleges, we have telecommuting going on. So 40% of the time for those staffs, they're working offsite and whatnot. There have been workplace accommodations that our presidents have done as well. There have been other accommodations that are vetted through the normal formal processes. So those who have needed to work remotely and have legitimate reasons to do so, we've allowed that to occur.
And I appreciate that very much. And, I think we need to really clarify, and I think, so the student panel in Sacramento talked about, them going directly to website, right? And to see what the protocols are in place to feel safe. And, if we could, if we're already doing it, great, but, I would appreciate more effort on that if we don't. I think one of the things that we could have potentially is more communication with the county and having them communicate also with our student body, our communities that we serve, only because I think it is very troubling for me when you have Dr. Barbara Ferrer come on Spectrum News, which, I look at, on a daily basis, and literally scare, I'm talking like, stay home, do not, leave this weekend, we have a surge. And then just on that very same breath, the newscaster is promoting the Super Bowl and how there's thousands of people that are going to gather. So it's very confusing to our students and to me as well as a trustee. So, I understand that there are guidelines that the county is doing, but also they're contradicting. If you're telling people in the community, stay home because there's a surge, don't go into places where it's enclosed with multiple people, that's what our classrooms are inside. They're enclosed rooms with multiple people. And if you're putting a mask mandate on that, you're putting a message to not go and do that. And then we're telling our students come in while the county's saying don't. It sends mixed messages. And so I think the policy's there, and I know Dr. Nish has been working with the county on a daily basis to ensure those higher ed guidelines, and we've been following them. We really have. But, the anxiety that's out there for, in particular, students and faculty that feel that they're in an enclosed room with multiple people inside, if we can send a message that it is safe, together with the county, whether it's through a text or, whatever we've been doing to communicate to our student body and to our community, it is important. Simply because, again, those are some of the concerns that have been coming to me as a policymaker, right? And so I just want to make sure that people do know that we are not just willy-nilly saying, come back. We're actually following higher ed guidelines that the county's providing. But yet, again, if you really look at what the county's been putting out and they're putting out something different verbally. And so, maybe we can talk to the supervisors about it because that is affecting the anxiety of our students and faculty. Thank you.
Trustee Valley, you make excellent points, all of them, and they're being noted and heard and certainly understood. I wanted to extend another thought, and I'll ask, would you like Dr. Nish to respond? Or what? Okay, so Dr. Nish, I'll have you just respond, but I want to put out one other factoid. That is that it's a public matter, and we negotiated with our faculty union that our class caps are in fact lower. We're normally a 42, they're now 28. So the classes are smaller so that students can spread out physically, so there's more room. Dr. Smith has previously reported in Park and other locations about the air circulation, air purifiers, ways that we are circulating clean air, cleaning, of course, ducts and all those other. So I would suggest that we actually have superseded what the minimum standards are for the LA County on cleanliness and sanitization. So again, all around keeping our environment.
And I appreciate that the administration was able to successfully do that. And so, to lay out the guidelines from the county and continue to work with the county, because that's what we're guiding ourselves, So yeah, if Dr. Nish could just respond where we're at today, I appreciate it.
Can you illuminate us, please?
Thank you, Chancellor. Happy to add some additional information here. With respect to the trustees' question, as of June of last year, restrictions for classroom teaching were basically all lifted. However, in July, we got the masking mandate for all things indoors. So there are a few special considerations for some special indoor courses where it's difficult to wear a mask. For example, if you're doing an orchestra class with woodwind instruments. So we have special considerations for that, for theater classes, etc. However, as long as we are properly masking, there are no special considerations unless we have, sort of the mega size indoor, which would be at 500 persons, which generally we do not. So we've been doing very well with that. And then given the board's direction, last August and September, we went that step further with the vaccination requirements. That's added another layer of safety. And now with the county health order, which is you need to boost or you need to test, and then the board's action last month in January, we're adding yet another layer. I do recognize your concern with what looks to be a difference in what we say and what we do. When we saw that the game at SoFi Stadium last weekend, a lot of folks took their masks down. However, just to be clear, that is an indoor mega situation. Masks are required, except for brief moments where you might be eating or drinking. And furthermore, you need to be fully vaccinated and or have a negative test within 48 hours to enter the stadium. So we ourselves, I think, have done a really good job. And let me tell you why I feel that way. Despite this insane winter surge that we have experienced, most of our colleges had in-person instruction during our brief winter session, and we have not experienced outbreaks. So we feel good about the layers of protection that we have added. We feel very good that the board took action to strengthen board policy 2900. And I would like to also add that many of our students and employees, even before we've set deadlines, have put their booster documentation into our system. So I think we're moving in the right direction, but I hear you loud and clear. We'll continue to work on communication, and we'll work hard with the county to try to make sure communication is consistent. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that. Dr. Nish, I appreciate that, and I recognize the success of not having the kind of outbreaks that we. But what I did want to say about the holiday season is that there was an actual press conference done by the county that told LA County citizens to not get together for Christmas or New Year's Eve, indoors with more than 10 people. And so that to me is troubling because during that whole time, we have winter session and it's just conflicting. And if you say that you can't be indoors with more than 10 people, yet our classes are more than 10 people, then it's just confusing everyone. And that's where students and faculty are coming to me asking for clarification, and that's all it is. There's real inconsistency in communication from CDC to the state to the county to us. And it's not, I think we're obeying and we're doing a great job. Let me just put that out there. I really do. And I feel safe. I mean, I come in here, I uploaded the test, the vaccine record, but I just think that there is that out there. So, we do have communications team on board on retainer that if we could, get out there and work, because it is confusing to some of our faculty and students. Sorry.
If I may just add, part of the confusion there, Trustee Vela, was that the intent of that notification from the county was holiday parties where you're indoors without masks. And that's why they were saying 10 persons or less. And we are fully masked. But I completely understand where that sense of confusion would come. So again, I appreciate this comment and we'll work on our communications.
Thank you.
Any other comments before we move on to consent calendar?
Can I just add to that really quickly? I'm sorry. Thank you, President Buelna. Thank you, Chancellor, for your report. And I just want to echo what Trustee Vela was saying. Chancellor, I know we have 3 colleges doing a pilot program with telecommuting. I would really advocate for every single one of our colleges to have some kind of a telecommuting agreement with classified staff, because I feel like if we're going to mitigate the spread and really control not having a workplace outbreak, and I know that we haven't, I think that classified staff need to be on a rotated schedule, whether it's 3 days in and 2 days remote or vice versa, because I think that will really help with some of the anxiety that we're hearing from classified staff, from faculty, and from students. And I just, as my own personal example, as someone who works at a community college, I've been back since August. We brought back faculty, our counseling faculty in the winter, 1 day a week. We brought back classified staff 2 days a week. And while there have been people that come in with COVID, because of the mask requirement and because we have staggered schedules, it's not able to spread as quickly, or it's not able to spread at all. And what we're noticing in the workplace is that COVID is coming in maybe from unvaccinated children at home, or folks that go to the Super Bowl, or people that wanted to travel over the holidays, but it's not spreading in the workplace. And I think if we staggered schedules, because I hear what the classified staff have been saying, they came to the board meeting today, they've been contacting us. They feel like, why did they have to come back at 100% when we've made all kinds of arrangements for faculty and for students? And so if we could look at that again, as we move forward, because that might have to be our new normal. And I just, again, want to reiterate, and I said it at the last board meeting, I want to make sure that our services are just as good in person as they are remote. So I don't want to sacrifice the remote services, because we see that students come on campus for classes if they have to, but they might go home or go into their car or go to work to go on Cranium Cafe with a counselor, or to get services in admissions and records or financial aid online. So I want to make sure our services are strong in both areas. Thank you.
Any other comments from the trustees before the chancellor makes a final final reaction? Chancellor.
I'll just thank you all for your attention to all the matters. Your comments are well taken, noted, and look forward to reporting out next month.
All right. There are no additional comments. We're going to move on to combined consent calendar, matters requiring a majority vote. Board members, we now have for our review the combined consent calendar for items I1 through U3. These items include consent calendars for Human Resources, Personnel Commission, Academic Affairs, Student Services, Budget and Finance, Business and Facilities. Are there any items that require additional information? Please state the item number and the agenda where we may find it. Trustees? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion and a second to adopt all the remaining items in the combined consent calendar I1 through U3? Trustee Vela moved.
Second.
Second, Trustee Moreno.
Yes.
Comments? Roll call.
Trustees, I don't have a problem with voting on it. There was just one item that I thought if the Chancellor can highlight it for the public, since we're approving it today fairly quickly, I think it's worth a note. But we can go forward with the vote.
Well, which item, so we can have the discussion?
1 second. And it's not a discussion, it's just to I spoke to the Chancellor about it earlier. Give me a minute while I find the number again.
Trustee Vettis, what is the subject?
I think we were talking about our lease agreement.
With that junior achievement?
Yes.
Oh, sure, I'm happy to respond to that. As you look up the item itself, it is an item that we're asking the board to support. We've had a relationship with junior achievement now for several years. And several years ago, we've asked for a lease agreement in which we would put in an LACCD, essentially booth space at their business park here in Los Angeles. They have hundreds of thousands of students that go through the business park by junior achievement, which, as you know, is a nationally recognized program to engage students into civics and business and leadership development. It's a very reputable program. What this allows us to do, and what we're asking you to approve, is for us to build out essentially a storefront that will allow each student to go through this booth space and enroll in our classes, get a sense of what each of our colleges allow or offer in their academic programs, and give them a sense to sort of a self-serve kiosk to learn about LACCD. So it's Dr. Smith and others have really put some time and attention into the design features to make it look quite nice next to the other business park entities that include hotels and banks and restaurants and other really well-established business entities. So we will be there as the only educational institution in that junior achievement business park. So this amount is just under, it's over $90,000, would allow us to build out and be part of the business park for the next 5 years. So that's what that item is. And we, again, underscore and appreciate and we will benefit from our partnership with the junior achievement and exposing what are LAUSD students, mostly students of color who mirror our students in these areas, who will be exposed to LACCD colleges, all 9.
Is that business park, it's the one off of Forest Lawn, Chancellor, like where their offices are?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, great.
Exactly. It's quite nice. It's a
Yeah, I've
huge,
been there.
they have, I guess, again, their tours of students are in the hundreds of thousands per academic year. So we get a lot of eyeballs, and we thought it was a good investment.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Fong,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to business items V1 through V3. Board members, we will now review again V1 through. Are there any items which require additional information? Please state the item number on the agenda where they may be found. Items V1, V3.
So President Walnut, so I didn't want to interrupt the Chancellor because he was on a roll here, but what he just described is V3. So my apologies, but we got that description there on V3.
Okay. Thank you. Any additional comments or questions? Okay. May I have a motion for items V1 through V3? I will motion it. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Bella. Any
No.
comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote,
Yes.
trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Fong,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vela,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Board members, we will now review facility items W1 through W3. Are there any items which require additional information? Please state the item number on the agenda where we may find it. Are there any from W1 through W3, any additional items that need to be, any additional information? May I have a motion in support of items W1 through W3?
So move.
Trustee Moreno moved, second.
Second.
Second by Trustee Vella. Any comments? Lupe?
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Fong,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Recommendations from the Chancellor. Chancellor, will we please present item X1?
Yes, thank you. We're asking the board this meeting to approve board policies at chapter 4. This is our ongoing and continuing conversion to league policies. We did notice this a month ago, so for public view, now this is the second read. Now we're asking to approve the board policies at chapter 4 as noted.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved by Trustee Vella, second by Trustee Hoffman. Additional comments? None noted. Lupe?
Student trustee Martinez advisory vote.
Yes.
Trustee Boulna,
Yes.
trustee Fong,
Yes.
trustee Henderson,
Yes.
trustee Hoffman,
Yes.
trustee Moreno,
Yes.
trustee Vella,
Yes.
trustee Vettis.
Yes.
Chancellor, there is a notice of out-of-state travel.
That's correct. Bring that up. For students and the faculty member to travel to class. Third, and we do ask for board approval so that they can be covered with insurance and it is appropriately supervised, chaperoned, but we're seeking.
Chancellor, I'm sorry, your audio is out.
Thank you. This is a request to have four students and one faculty member travel to Washington, D.C. For the National Student Advocacy Conference that runs from March 18th through March the 23rd of next month. This is the National Student Conference for Advocacy. It includes students from all the campuses, for at least some of the campuses. And these are appropriately supervised, chaperoned. And we do bring this to the board when we go out of state. We do have some states and areas that we are banned to travel from. Washington, D.C. is not one of them. So we would like your support to allow these 5 persons represent our district to this National Student Conference. We appreciate your support.
I move to approve this item.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Hoffman, seconded by Trustee Vella. Any additional comment? Do they get all of their meals paid for?
Yes, sir.
All right. Roll call?
I'm sorry, that's a notice. There's no action on that one. Y1, notice of out-of-state travel.
Measure voted on. Oh,
Dr. Court, do we need to approve this?
No, so
Okay.
trustees, you approve anytime we use our funds for the travel. And when students are using ASO funds, we provide it as a notice informative so that you know they're traveling out of state.
we could
Thank
just,
you.
we can't support it just for supporting and voting.
We always
Go
appreciate the
team.
support.
There you go.
All right, by acclamation. All right, announcements and indications of future proposed actions by members of the Board of Trustees. I'll start with our virtual board, Trustee Moreno. I'll take that as a no. Trustee Hoffman?
Yes, I just want to remind everybody that this Friday, February 4th, is the Basic Needs Conference being hosted by San Diego Mesa College. It is virtual. Thank you, Trustee Vella, for signing up. And thank you, Chancellor, for having LACCD be a sponsor. So that's really wonderful. Please, there'll be a lot of great workshops on student basic needs, on housing. Please attend if you can. It is virtual. And the planning of it was part of the task force that I sit on food insecurity and housing affordability. So thank you.
Trustee Vettis? Trustee Vettis?
Yes, sorry. Yes,
Oh, no, any comments, announcements?
I do not have any other comments.
Okay, got it. Trustee Henderson?
No comments.
Trustee Vella?
No comments or any issue.
Are you sure, Trustee
Yes.
Vella? Okay. Trustee Fong?
No comments. Thank you so much.
No comments from me. Public comment. Are there any persons signed up to address the board on closed session items? And we believe we have a few. And to be fair, you had Ashley. No, wait. There was one who I think misspoke from the earlier one.
That was actually.
Was that Ashley? Okay.
Yeah.
So is Ashley Milena Rodriguez available? Oh, she was on there anyway. Okay, Elizabeth Krager. Okay, so let's start off with Elizabeth Krager. Ms. Krager? Is she on? Okay. You also have Rick Scuderi. Is Rick Scuderi queued up? Okay.
Hello?
Yes,
Good.
you do have 3 minutes, so we will begin the clock.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor Rodriguez and the Board of Trustees and the Board President for this opportunity to speak today in a closed item session.
What is your name, sir?
Yes, I'm going to get to that right now. Subsection 5D, the Payan and Mason versus LACCD lawsuit. I am Dr. Rick Scuderi, past president and former legislative chair of the California Association of Post-Secondary Education and Disability, that's CAPED, and former director of DSPS at LA Mission College, retired. Being older now, it almost seems my ease with technology ended with the demise of the rotary telephone. Still, it's not hard to see the missteps LA City College took when confronted with Mr. Payan's and Miss Mason's situation, there being blind and needing digital access, and the overall failure to provide reasonable, timely accommodations to them, to the point that Mr. Payan, and I believe Miss Mason too, had to privately hire tutors themselves to read and guide them through all their math class materials. Ironically, this type of specialized tutoring had routinely occurred at LA Mission College years ago as a non-tech default position until proper digital access became available. By and large, Mission's tutor mentors were hired then at a relatively low cost, with the numerous special education undergraduate and graduate programs at universities that surround our two-year community colleges. They were happy to receive the lower hourly salaries as the experience and often recommendation letters were invaluable to them. More on creation of these kinds of innovations later. This 5-year court battle may be focused now on the subtle legal difference between and consequence between intentional discrimination and non-intentional discrimination. But while this battle goes on and on, we must look to how LACCD currently handles such situations for students that are blind or have other such impeding disabilities. Is the district learning to do better with digital access? More evidence as yet is needed to answer this question affirmatively, and here's why. LACCD is one of the 2 largest districts in the nation and has enormous potential resources to serve students with disabilities if coordinated properly. 9 college campuses, each with their own offices for disability services, including information technologists. A district office, Americans with Disabilities Coordinator, the State Alternative Text Production Center, ATPC, with easy driving distance located in Ventura area, to mention just a few resources. Here's the problem. They do not other in a systematic way to build each other's knowledge and networking capabilities. It's often each college is for itself when difficult challenges present themselves. And here's where structured innovations come in, such as mentioned at the beginning. There are some creative ideas out there, and many to structure this coordinated communication and implementation at a reasonable cost, but no action yet to do so. A down-to-earth question that must be addressed is this: would this structured, effective communication bring clarity to, one, more innovative, streamlined, effective digital access services, universally designed for all students, and two, important for economically speaking situation? Would the structured conversations and considered implementations be focused on costs that might affect other programs and student services? And that's a big deal. My take is yes to one and yes to two. Cost efficiency would be integral to every coordinated discussion, and many districts, including neighboring districts and districts throughout the state, voluntarily banding together to purchase the same well-researched software and implementing strategies would go a long way in bringing down cost. Also, there are already multiple Cal State universities, UC universities, and out-of-state universities, for instance, UC of Cincinnati, Temple University, and Illinois State University, to mention a few, that do a very good, cost-effective job at this and would provide models to begin these innovative, coordinated discussions. So I urge the Chancellor and the Board of Trustees to begin this systematic, innovative work and become the accessible model to all California community colleges to emulate. This would be the real victory for LACCD, for diversity, equity, inclusion, and access for all our students. Thank you.
Is Ashley Rodriguez on Zoom?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for your patience and sorry about that.
No worries.
I just wanted to address the board regarding closed session agenda matter regarding the Payan versus LACCD litigation. I've been working on this for a few months now, so not as long as a lot of the other people that I've been working on it have been a part of it. But what I mentioned in one of the last meetings was that this is an important matter that would affect the ADA in Section 504 for people with disabilities around the country, and something that I feel like isn't getting through to the board. Maybe that, this is not just people with disabilities aren't just born with disabilities, they can acquire them at some point in their lifetime. And when it comes to the students at your school, the ages vary from, right out of high school to senior adults. So it's not just something that would affect, this is a specific situation with blind students. It would affect other people that would just want to try to get an education. So I would recommend considering, mediating without taking this case to the Supreme Court. And that's just my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Lupe, is there another speaker? Crystal.
Yes, we have one more. Elizabeth?
Elizabeth, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. Sorry, I've been having really bad Zoom tech today.
No worries. You have to
Thank you. Thank you for hearing me out. So a couple of things. I actually started my job at LACC as a student tutor in the Office of Special Services at LACC. And this was when I was 17, 16. And my boss sent me to the Braille Institute. I learned Braille. I actually made an entire geography course accessible. And this was 2005, so there wasn't a lot of tech. And I did this as a student employee because it was so clear that it was just like, well, these students want education, and in order to give them access, these materials need to be converted. And so I did that. I came back years ago and they were still using that same stuff I made when I was 16, 17. When I was 25, I found out I have invisible disabilities. And so, this strategy, this legal strategy that you all are pursuing, while at the same time, the Chancellor has just talked about how we're an accessible institution, we need to address the fact that we have students with all needs, that we have people coming into our campuses, we have employees with functional diversity, right? and at the same time pursuing this legal strategy. When I found out about this, I cried, because if you all succeed in this legal strategy, the protections that I have, the protections that others have who have visible disabilities, even me coming out as a disabled person, I haven't done that for years for fear of the stigma. And I'm only coming out now because I feel like I can't keep silent. And if you take this case through to the Supreme Court, you are doing something that's going to harm me, but harm everyone across this country with disabilities. And we already know that the ADA and Section 504 is not strong enough. That legislation is decades old, and it is ineffectual a lot of times. And in this situation, you have an opportunity to just remediate the situation. I have no doubt that if you compare your legal bill to the cost that it would take to actually remediate, I don't think, there's the budget, there's the will, there's the, it would be the right thing. Please do the right thing as a board. And we are paying attention, we're paying attention, and we care, and we're here. And just the fact that you're even considering doing this has already caused so much harm in the disabled community. So just know that you have a chance to stop causing that harm and to do something that could actually help.
Thank you very much. I wanted to make sure that you did conclude.
Yes, she did.
Okay.
Board President?
Yes.
We do have one hand raised. Name is Elisa.
Yeah. Can you ask if that's a closed session item? Ma'am, is this a closed session item?
Asking her to unmute right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Elisa, is this for a closed session agenda matter?
Yes, thank you so much. It is for a closed session agenda matter. Yes.
Okay, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Elisa Schlesinger. I'm a commissioner for the City of Los Angeles Commission on Disability. And I'm also here to speak on the pay-in lawsuit. And I want to echo the sentiments that the speaker right before me spoke about how detrimental we think that this lawsuit would be, taking it to the Supreme Court, and what impact this will have on the disability community as a whole across the nation. Just in this meeting today, we've heard so many times that the board has expressed its interest in diversity and inclusion and supporting, people of different abilities. And it really harms me tremendously to think that the board would go ahead with this legal maneuver when there are other ways I believe that this can be addressed in ways that are probably much more constructive for all parties involved. I'm not sure that I can say this much more eloquently than the person who just spoke before me, but I absolutely echo that person's sentiment. And I implore you to please, reconsider the legal strategy that you're adopting, and see if there's a different way we can address these issues having to take to the Supreme Court. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for taking the time. Anyone additional, Crystal?
No, sir, that's the end of the list.
Okay. Okay, the board will recess the closed session in accordance with the Ralph M. Brown Act, Government Code Section 54950, and the Education Code, to discuss the matters on the posted closed session agenda pursuant to Government Section 54954.5. May I have a motion to recess to closed session?
So move.
Second.
Trustee Fong, move. Trustee Bella, second. No objection? All right. Thank you. We are adjourned. Board members. Let's reconvene at 4:35. At 4:35. Okay. Everyone, board members, you do have the links that are on the Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do you gavel?